Hello everybody, this is Conquering History Games, and we're gonna wait a minute here. Okay, so hello everybody, this is Conquering History Games, and welcome to the 20,000 subscriber Q&A special. You know, I just thought I'm so sorry I didn't set this up already, but I meant to have a little bit of music going in the background, so it could fill in some of the dead space. So sorry about that. Set that up in the background quietly. Okay, it should be up now. Yes, hype train, indeed. Okay, I'm sure the chat's gonna be moving a little quick. There's no subtitles. Oh, I get it. Stream live for less than a minute. Yeah, there was a brief hiccup in getting the stream going. So the most important thing, of course, is can everybody hear me okay? I'm not going to be playing anything while I go through this question and answer because, well, it's going to... I'm going to be focusing on the questions because I once a long time ago did a Q&A live stream, but I was playing something while I did it, and a lot of people said, well, there were some people who wanted me to play the game, and they felt that I was not answering the question. Like the question answering was distracting me from doing that. And there were some people who wanted me to answer the questions, and they thought the game was distracting me for do that. So, now, let's quickly go over the rules. Or no, not the rules. There's not rules. It's a Q&A, but basically here's the concept. By the way, I've put up a lot of I've set my several battle wallpapers I have, as well as some that are related to some of the video games that I play, to scroll through. It's on shuffle as we go through, so you'll have something good to look at as we play, or as I take the questions. Now, there are two primary areas that I'm going to be taking questions from. The first one being ones from my community tab, because I think I've posted twice to have people submit questions to me there. The other is going to be from my Discord, where people have been posting in a thread there, as well as DMs. I will also I will try to answer some questions from the live stream. So what I'm going to do though is, if you ask me a question and I briefly scanned, I didn't have answers prepared for everything yet, but I briefly scanned through the ones that were coming a couple of days ago, and I started to notice there was a lot of repetitious ones. So if you're asking me something and I'm not answering, or I'm not even acknowledging the question, it's probably a question somebody already asked. Having said that, I'm not going to be, because I'm going to be focusing on answering the questions, I'm not going to be looking at the chat a whole lot. Also, sorry if I'm a little stuffy. It's a lot of stuff going around and I'm trying to fight it off. But if I see a question that is interesting, or like I haven't seen before, I should say, oh, we're getting the girls in early. I was hoping that they'd shuffle in later to piss people off. It's just so funny how people get mad about Moe Reich. Anyway, also I didn't, because I was creating a folder I was like organizing stuff just for this like last minute. Not everything's to scale. So that's why you're gonna have red borders sometimes. Anyway, so if you guys ask me a question in the live chat and I see it and I don't think somebody else has asked it, I'm gonna write it down. I've got some paper right here, and I will answer it at the end of the stream. Or after I've answered the already submitted questions, basically. So, we're going to get started. I think we'll get started with some Discord questions first. Let me just pull those up, and I'm going to alternate back and forth. All right. Some of these questions might be, some of these are going to take longer than others to answer. Oh, this is a terrific first question. Also, 20,000 subscriber hype! Thank you very much! Even though we only have 1/1000th of you here. Yeah, why don't we have 20k people here? Oh wait, oh good, Nitro Game, you're here, you made it. I'm glad you are, because you just reminded me of something. Nitro Game, could you send me a link to your YouTube channel in the Discord? I don't know if you actually have videos or anything. Could you just send it to me in a private message in the Discord, please? Thank you. Alright, moving on. We're going to start these questions. So, anybody who I guess wants in the future on YouTube make timestamps of this in the description below. Now's the time to start. Now, question is, I guess I should probably say who submitted them. From Galix Lord 154EX, Conquering History Games. What is it originally? You know what? I'm gonna fix the grammar, because if I read everybody's questions literally, people are gonna get very upset, because they're fine with typing poorly, but not when they actually hear it out loud. So, Conquering History Games. What is it that originally led you to enjoy history? And also, congratulations, of course. Well, if I had to say what originally piqued my interest in history is, well, my dad was kind of into it, not like in an academic sense. He just was interested in history, would read a lot of books, and I used to read a lot of books as well. Just anything. I'd read anything that was put in front of me. I learned how to read at a very young age. So he was in the military. These are my earliest memories of like history-specific reading. But he was in the military, and so, you know, you're not always spending every day in like the field, so to speak. So I just remember there were some times when I was a kid and he had become a like senior NCO, and he took me to Fort Bliss. That's where he was stationed at the time. And like, there was like a library either in the building he was in or nearby or something, but super quick, if you're gonna ask a question, if it's not grammatically correct, I'm not even gonna acknowledge it. I'll tell you right now, because I can't understand half of it, half the stuff people post, honestly. So, as I was saying, so there was a library there, but of course it was all military-related stuff, which a lot of the military stuff is history-related. So I remember I would read like a book. I was just grabbing books, and it's like the British military history or something like that. Now, the first history book I really remember, just like I was reading every word, and I thought it was so brilliant, because they basically were like stories. You know, I'm a little kid. These were all incredible stories to me. It's like, you know, truth is stranger than fiction. It's better than fiction in a lot of ways. And it was a book called War Through the Ages by Leon Montross. I have a copy of that book even today. It is just the best single volume general military history I've ever read, ever heard of, ever seen. It's just terrific. And okay, wait, hold on a second. And hold on a sec. And so that was the first. That's when I really started to get into history. And I remember I used to go, like, I'd save up money to buy more history books, which are incidentally often good choices for books to buy, because, like, you know, there are a lot of them in used bookstores. But even if you were go to someone like somebody such as Barnes and Nobles, like, you can get hundreds of pages or thousands of pages for relatively cheap. So also, incidentally, let's all welcome Nitro Game, our new moderator, as of right now. So that was when that's when I started to get into history, just started to read more and more and more of it growing up. Lots and lots of books, and it's mostly through book reading. I do watch some documentaries on things, but not a lot. It's mostly reading, which is why I often read the names out. I kind of just sound out names. I don't know how to read it. Like, I don't know how, like, if something's in Vietnamese, for example, I don't know how to read that in the Vietnamese language. I know how to phonetically read, but I know what it means, which kind of gets into this whole concept of knowing Trivial Pursuit stuff versus knowing actual history and understanding it. But yeah, that's not what the question's about. So now, what made me decide to choose history as a profession? By the way, let me know if the music's getting too loud at any point, guys. What led me to want it as a profession was, you know, there's different jobs you want growing up, and at the time when I was applying for college, I wanted to be I wanted to be an architect for a little bit, and then I met some architects and engineers, and I realized, oh no, I want to be the engineer, not the architect. I want to be the person who builds the thing, not the one who draws the picture. And which is a gross oversimplification, but turn the music down a bit. Okay, give me a second. All right, that's as low as it can get and still be on. So, anyway, So I just remember that I was fucking off on applying to college because I was applying to a school that had a good engineering program, but I was fucking off and reading histories by Herodotus because that was actually fun, and it's just one of those things that clicked for me. Hey, wait a second, this is something that I do a lot. I super duper enjoy it, and maybe I could be somebody who does that. Like, I could do these things. I study it, and I'll study it, and I'll write a book of my own one day. And just different things like that. I believe the frightened man is supposed to be Huey Long, Garen. So there's that question. So that was a really in-depth answer. So next question. How did you come to your path making YouTube videos? Man, we're really hitting some big ones early. And, okay, so the YouTube videos were... I'm trying to remember. I think it was... how I originally came to YouTube is, I think I had picked up, I think, a bunch of Total War games. I had picked up like the entire collection of Total War games that was out at the time. And I was playing ones that I wasn't very familiar with, because I'd never played them before. I never played anything past like Medieval 2. And so I wasn't very good, and so I thought there must be guides online or something for this. And so I ended up looking up guides, and I think I found Legend of Total War. No, it wasn't Legend of Total War, because if I had found Legend of Total War first, I never would have made a channel, because, you know, he makes everything look so easy. And so I thought, you know what, maybe I could do some streams of, or like record videos of me playing Total War, and I could actually talk about the history of the countries. So I used to play Medieval 2 Total War a ton on the channel. Now, there's not really any of that on the channel right now, and I'm going to get to the reason why. Because I did have an original YouTube channel that I would do this on. And, wait. If there's a sudden pause, I'm writing down a question, probably. Alright, so I started out doing that, and nobody was watching. We're talking, first episode would get triple-digit viewers. Everything else would just be the double digits. Nobody watched any of it. And eventually I just stopped uploading. Then some time goes by, I think it was 2016, I was playing some Hearts of Iron. I was getting into Paradox games. I had been playing Crusader Kings 2 before, but I was interested in Hearts of Iron 4, so I picked that up. And then I learned about Kaiserreich, and I started to play that. And I was playing as the United States, and I was just trying different paths and realized that there was a way to avoid the Second American Civil War. And I had never heard of this. I didn't know it was possible. So I tried it a couple more times and it kept working. So I thought, and so I Googled it, like, does anybody know this happened? and then I thought about like just making a post somewhere on the internet. And I thought, no, you know what? I'm gonna make a video so like people can just reference it, and got like 15,000, like 12,000 in just a couple of days. Was getting to 15,000 views out of nowhere. Like I only had nothing else on the channel, I think, except for those Total War campaigns, and so I thought, wow, that's interesting. It's like, and I was getting really into Kaiserreich, so I thought, I'm gonna make some more guides, and people got really into that stuff. And so eventually what happened, though, because this was the second channel I had, and it's a long thing, and it doesn't really matter. The point, well, it does matter, but like basically I had to, because I had my gaming channel, you know, Conquering History Games, I had it on a separate email than my main one, so I deleted it. And I had to basically make a new channel on the better email for pulling in money, and so what? Hold on a second. So I ended up, sorry, sometimes I see something in the chat and it distracts me. I'm like, wait, what? And so at the time I had, I think, 2,000 subscribers. And I made the switch, and I spent like a week or two saying, you know, I'm gonna move to a new channel, guys. And I just remember after I moved, there was this guy. I don't remember his name, but I remember he had a like a Heisenberg profile picture from Breaking Bad, and he kept harassing me, and that's something that's been consistent on YouTube is. Oh yeah, the history. Shoot, you know what? Honestly, DJ82, I've actually forgotten about that series because I've been, and that's on my other channel. But I've basically forgotten about the other channel because, you know, I'm trying to think about what book I want to write in real life. Anyway, sorry to interrupt the previous question. So I ended up switching over here to Conquering History Games, which it had the same title, but it was a new channel, so I had to like get the subscribers back. Which obviously I'm at 20,000 now. So even though I lost 2,000 in one fell swoop, they came back. But I just remember this guy kept harassing me. He was posting on every single new video I'd upload. He'd say, "Why did you delete your old channel? Oh my God, you just lost all these subscribers. You're so dumb. Why did you do it? Why did you do it?" And I said, "Look, there was reasons to do it." And then eventually I just told him, "Dude, can you just fucking stop? It's been done. We're gonna move on." And you know what? Here's what I'll do for the history of Mexico thing. I'll talk about a history of Mexico thing I wrote later. So I was. What was that jingle? Oh yeah, you know what, guys? I'm gonna put the little tip jar up. I know it's gonna maybe block the picture, but. So, no, the tip jar / subscriber jar, so we can see people who subscribe during the stream. That might be fun. So anyway, that's how I came to YouTube, and I started getting into like the history of my YouTube channel and things like that. So, next question. What is my cake day? St. Crispin's Day. Let's see. Oh, and also when I made the new channel, though, I did not upload a lot of my old stuff. So like my original Total War campaigns from many years ago, I don't even know where I'd have the copies of them anymore. Oh, actually I know where they would be, and we'd figure it out from there. Damn, a lot of people have subscribed, like right now. Oh goodness, look at that. That's so awesome. Let's see if we can get it to overflow. Yeah, so that's why a lot of my old stuff is not on the channel, and also why my current, or not the current, but the like when I re-uploaded the U.S. Civil War video, like I think it has less views now than the original video did. So next question: what nations do you plan to play as for future campaigns in Vanilla Hearts of Iron 4, Kaiserreich, Führerreich, etc.? Do you plan on playing Hearts of Iron 4 mods such as In the Name of the Tsar and Red World? Okay. Hey, Hayden plays games. Always good to see you. It has been a long time. So I was for Vanilla Hearts of Iron 4. unless I'm achieving hunting, you know what? I'm going to talk more about future video plans in detail in a separate video that should go up tomorrow, where basically I'm going to talk about all my plans for the channel now that I've hit 20,000. Like what's the next step? So I'm just going to give short answers for this here. For Vanilla Hearts of Iron 4, I have no future campaigns planned until the next DLC drops. Of course, all this is subject to change. For Kaiserreich, I am going to do a Combined Syndicates of America World Conquest as an apology, because I took too long and the save broke for me doing the specifically the Combined Syndicates of America campaign, where I went with the Radical Socialists in charge instead of going Foster's America. And yeah, that is a lot of subscribers. You can't even see the money in there anymore. But I fucked up, and that was the only campaign I wasn't able to complete. And it was not the one with the most views. In fact, I think it had the least amount of views, but I feel really bad about that. So I am pledging to not only do it again, but make it a full-blown world conquest run as an apology. And you guys know I don't do world conquest runs. Oh yeah. After that, let's see what happens. It's going to depend on when the China update happens. I've got some other plans. I think I want to do something in Central America or Latin America, but we'll see. Also, Moe Reich definitely is going to come back. I don't know which ones, but I always do like to support these guys. I really like the concept. So, it's just so simple and it's fun. And it's especially fun to me how pissed people get. So, Führerreich, I know that it got updated and I haven't done anything new yet there. I was thinking Soviet Union or the Russian Republic. But, you know, there's a few new ones that I need to check out. Like, I streamed a couple of the Chinas and the localization wasn't done yet, which that kind of gets on my nerves. And again, I'm not on the Führerreich team. I'm sure there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. It's just like, I'm personally not going to play a country that doesn't have a localization in its focuses and things like that. I very much enjoy that flavor, especially if it's a country that I don't know very well. Just because I study history doesn't mean I know the history of everything ever. You know what I mean? So, next question. Oh yeah, do I plan on playing Hearts of Iron 4 mods such as In the Name of the Tsar? I've played In the Name of the Tsar a few times. I believe I've done the Ottomans. I've done the Ottomans, the Russians, I think one or two others. So I have played them. I have played it, I meant to say. And Red World, I have not checked out Red World. Well, I think I once loaded it up, but I don't know when I'd get around to Red World. It's not like Millennium Dawn, where it's like people say, "Are you gonna play Millennium Dawn?" I say, "Get the fuck out of here." Next question. Have you heard of The New Order, Last Days of Europe, or Godspeed, A Flame for Winter, two very cool in development mods? And, so I've heard of The New Order, and, well, I think I have, because you gotta understand, guys, I get messages all the time from developers, from people who are fans of developers. Thank you very much, Pen Kitten. I get messages all the time from developers, people who are fans of developers, about upcoming Hearts of Iron 4 mods, and I do pay attention to them. For example, a lot of you may remember that I was the only guy on YouTube who had Führerreich. I had it like a week before, and I had 5 campaigns going. So that was awesome. I'm always very thankful to them for that. In fact, I believe my Führerreich Germany campaign, the video 1, is like in my top 10 most viewed videos ever. So that's pretty cool. But, so the New Order, if I remember correctly, and mea culpa if it's wrong, but I think that, like, I remember looking at the alternate history, and, you know, I have a very love-hate relationship with counterfactual history. Most people who study history do. But I just remember there was a few things that I was looking at this and go, I don't like this at all. Especially the I believe it was a Nixon-Kennedy, like, you know, like they were the two executives, like one was president, one was vice president, and there was some sort of lore about the Democratic and Republican parties coming together, and they were like it was a mixed ticket, but I just couldn't accept that. That is, no, like, this was Nixon and Kennedy. this was more than just one had the R and one had the D next to their name. We're talking about different backgrounds, religions, uh, fundamentally different personalities and values and ideologies, geographic distances, and on and on and on. I couldn't accept it. But the thing that's really starting to get on my fucking nerves is that the new, I can constantly see, it's like, dude, the new order is awesome. And is it out? And no, and it's like, it's been for months. And I know these mods take a long time to make, but it's like, new order, man, new order. And it's like, it's just this, I guess you could say it's people who are trying to put it in my face that get it annoying. And I've not heard of Godspeed of Flame for Winter. But I don't, what I'm trying to say basically is like, unless I see serious progress on a mod, I don't, like, it's coming up soon, I'm not going to pay attention to it. I'm always hearing about all these ambitious projects, and so many of them never get made. For example, I was actually really following closely for a while the Syrian Civil War mod, which as far as I know is still not out. If it is, let me know, I'll check it out. But it's because I've followed the Syrian Civil War very closely, and I have for years, and so when I heard about a mod of it, I thought, oh, this is interesting, so like, I could teach people about the Syrian Civil War and how it's developed over the years. I just remember that Discord was just nonstop shit posting. It was a constant fucking joke. Nobody was working on shit. Maybe it's not like that now, but eventually I just left the Discord when I got like pinned 3 times a day for a couple of days in a row for nothing. So anyway, and that's my opinion on in development mods. Okay, just a couple more questions, just like maybe 3 more questions, then I'm gonna switch to the YouTube ones, meaning the previously submitted YouTube ones. What's my favorite game outside of Hearts of Iron 4? You know, believe it or not, Hearts of Iron 4 is probably not even, if we're talking about vanilla, it's probably not even like top 5 if we're counting vanilla. But some of my favorite games, I really like Crusader Kings 2. Well, you know, different games, I guess it depends on the context. Like, probably my favorite game to play with friends is the Borderlands series. Just do some couch co-op, you know. One sec. I probably need to go. Oh gosh, we're approaching half an hour. This is gonna be a long session. I might have to get more water at some point, or maybe make some tea. So, favorite games. I like Crusader Kings 2. I'm gonna guess this means video games. Couch co-op, probably the Borderlands series. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon lately. I've been doing in a Nuzlocke variant. Going through the different gens. I'd only played maybe, outside of the first 2 gens, I'd only played 2 Pokemon games. Of the main ones, I'm not talking about like Pokemon Snap or something. But yeah, today is a celebration. You're right. I should get some scotch instead of something alcoholic. Maybe after it's been like at least an hour. And we, but yeah, I like all sorts of different games. Trying to think of other video. Why don't I remember? Oh, you know what? Here's a game that this was I friggin' loved to play this game on my Game Boy Color. Which incidentally, the Game Boy Color that I picked up in a pawn shop when I was 11 years old just burned out like 2 months ago. Which it's like, that thing I'm saying is that thing lasted a long time, and because it was used when I got it. So anyway, I used to play Link's Awakening on there, and I was super happy when I found out, even though I don't own a Switch, but when I found out that they were going to do a version on the Switch, basically a 3D version of Link's Awakening, because that is the best 2D Zelda game in my opinion, and nobody talks about it. It's so freaking cool. Everybody talks about A Link to the Past when it comes to 2D, and of course there's the 3D ones like Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. That's what they talk about when they talk about Zelda games, but Link's Awakening is so cool. It's the concept is that Link it's almost like out of the canon. And Link crashes on an island, and so it's a whole new cast of characters, and I don't even think Zelda's name is mentioned in the whole thing, so like that's so some of the people who do know Legend of Zelda, like they know that game, they'll kind of joke like, Zelda's not even in every Legend of Zelda game. You know, it's like she's like, that's a completely, you know, it's like out of the canon. So, yeah, Link's Awakening. That's gonna be cool. Between that and the Gen 8 Pokemon, I think I might have to start saving up some money and wait for a sale for getting a Switch. I haven't bought a console in years and years and years. You know, I'm a PC gamer. So, what is my favorite mix of nation and ideology in Kaiserreich? Okay, so that is sort of a vague question. So I'm going to interpret that as, like, what is a country that in Kaiserreich that I think its ideology makes it really fun to play. So like, I wouldn't specify, for example, any of the Russia ones, because at the end of the day, you're just expanding outward in every direction. It's just a question if, like, you're going to turn them into democracies, or you're going to puppet them, or if you're going to absorb them. So, like, I wouldn't say Russia's in there. But I always like any... yeah, my favorite Zelda game. Yeah, the one that doesn't have Zelda. That's my favorite Zelda game. And so, of course, I really like the United States because it can go in a few different directions. I think the Commune of France is cool because obviously it has to stay syndicalist in some way, because if not, World War II is not going to happen. Well, like, it might happen between, like, Germany and Russia or something, but that is the central event. Germany and France have to go to war at some point. But the thing is, I've never heard anybody say that the Commune of France is too linear, or it's too boring, even though basically you're just building up to go to war with Germany. So I think that is good design. That's really good design. What are other ones? Good nation and ideology mix. I do like how the Princely Federation could go, like, as far left as Margaret Liberal and as far right as like the Kaiser. That's kind of cool. Which is actually not that broad now that I say it out loud, but I just think it's kind of cool. All right, I've probably answered that question way too much already, but yeah. So next, last question before I switch over to the YouTube community page. Have you considered looking into games like Stellaris, or giving good combos for boosts in the games and mod that may not be as apparent to get huge tech advantages? Alright, I probably should have read that first in my mind before I, yeah, the Princely Federation go democratic. Absolutely. It's the easier way to play. So, I would say, I think what this guy's trying to do is, like, have I ever thought into doing Stellaris guides? No, because nobody watches it on my channel. And, you know, I actually started to look into people who I know that get a lot of views for Stellaris. And it's basically with, like, just a couple of sections. They're just really dedicated fans, like, of Stellaris, and their channels are dedicated to it. So it just doesn't, you know, get into it. So, anyway, like I said, I'm not answering questions that I can't fucking read them or they don't make any grammatical sense, alright? I shouldn't have even read that one. So, who is the person / great figure you admire most in history? Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one because it's like, it depends on what kind of admiration are we talking about. Hold on a sec. So it depends on what we're talking about when we talk about admiring, because you could talk about morality, you could talk about feats, you could talk about all sorts of different things. Like you know what's kind of funny is whenever great man theory comes up in a conversation and somebody doesn't understand what it is, I actually will reference Harry Potter, and I'm sure you guys already know which scene I'm talking about. But it's in the very first book, when Harry is going to get his wand and he finds out that Lord Voldemort, who is the most evil wizard in the world, pretty much ever, got his wand from that same guy. And that his brother is similar, his wand is going to be the brother to Voldemort's wand. That's a whole thing, but anyway, Harry's kind of like, oh shit, I've got a similar wand to this evil dude. And then Ollivander says, but Voldemort did great things, terrible things, but great. And it's like, so like, we're talking about great man. Now this is like, I'm answering a question that wasn't asked about what's great man theory. So for example, in great man theory, somebody like Stalin or Hitler would be considered a great man, in quotations. Like, think capital G, capital M, great man. Even though they were really bad people, which is putting it lightly. So anyway, but and then like you also have like the Richard III style, meaning the Shakespeare play style admiration, where like, you know why people like Richard III and they like things like House of Cards, which is basically just Richard III married to Lady Macbeth. Like, you know, if you read that, especially if you watch the original British versions, but it's because like those guys, they're doing bad things, and yeah, great in what they do. Yeah, so it's like so. Shoot, sorry, I got distracted by something. But this idea of never mind. I got sorry. Something distracted me, and like the stuffiness is killing me. All right. Anyway, let me answer the fucking question. Yeah, who is the person / great figure you admire most in history? Oh yeah, I was gonna say Richard III. Yeah. It was like basically it's like they're doing bad things, but you gotta appreciate their energy. Like, you know, they're the most exciting person on the screen or in the book, you know, as may be. I wouldn't say exactly like that. Virtual gaming. Yeah. I'm talking about Shakespeare's version of Richard III. Fuck, I'm supposed to be answering this question. All right. So the person I admire most. Maybe I wanna look up his name so I pronounce it right. All right. Probably like, so if you're talking about somebody big, one that comes to mind is Emperor Taizong of the Tang, second Tang emperor. Just really efficient dude, supposed to be like one of the best people to live under in world history. It's like, yeah, there wasn't indoor plumbing, but things were pretty sweet. You know, they're, but like, because we're talking about historical figures, so I'm trying to think of like great men, because like I can admire individual people. Like, I really admire that South Vietnamese Marine that was interviewed in the Ken Burns documentary of the Vietnam War, stuff like that. But I like John Marshall. I'm just gonna list some that I really like with that, but I'm gonna like try to, hopefully nothing that could be drawn into current political ideologies, because I don't want to start shit. I'll start banning people if you all start shit. Yeah, most historical figures are great. You know, if it's kind of interesting that the people. The kind of funny thing is that people who are universally admired get thrown under the rug. You know what? I'm actually going to say this one, because surely nobody could have this infer anything in modern age, but Abraham Lincoln. I'd say Abraham Lincoln is the one I admire the most easily. I have a lot of books of his like letters and his personal writings, and I actually have a small bust of his head. I actually gave it to my dad because he's a great admirer of Lincoln as well, but then he gave it to me when I moved out. He said, you take it. It's very small. It's not like a huge fucking bust. It's just, yeah, Abraham Lincoln. Just, like, even the shit he does wrong, I'll find myself defending. Alright, let's go on. What is my favorite location / time period in history? With no question mark, so I guess it's a statement, motherfucker. Proper sentences, people! So, I really enjoy studying 19th century Europe. And, yeah, I'd say 19th century Europe. Well, really the world, not just Europe. Like, especially, like, 19th century United States history is some of my favorite, too. Although it gets a little bit boring after Reconstruction. At least in my eyes. It's like, kind of, it's just like labor versus capital until Teddy Roosevelt shows up. But like, labor has always been fighting capital, but I mean, it's like, it's just the country is run by the corporation. It's run by the Rockefellers and stuff, and nobody fucking remembers any of those presidents. I'm telling you, you can go into like an American history class and do that thing where like everybody has to try to name every single president. You can give them like 10 minutes or something, 15, 20, whatever. I guarantee you some people are going to forget some, and it's going to be the ones nobody gave a shit about during the Gilded Age because they didn't matter. So but at location, it's kind of tough to say. Like, I guess, like, I'm into British history, but not much of it on the actual island. So, you know, Theodore Roosevelt is one. You know, I really enjoy Theodore Roosevelt as a person, and he's one who I could definitely say did a lot of bad shit. But he's just so interesting because you see, this is the difference between. There is certainly a difference between somebody who's interesting and somebody who's to be admired. Like, I've known professors who, like, you know, they freaking, you know, like, you can write a biography about somebody, but you don't love them. You know what I mean? Like, Theodore Roosevelt did a lot of bad shit, and I disagree with some of his stuff. But he's such an interesting guy. He's kind of like Thomas Jefferson in the sense that it's like being a president was maybe, but probably didn't crack the top 3 interesting things about his life. You know what I mean? Like, Thomas Jefferson didn't have put on his grave that he was a president of the United States. So what exactly happened to... Okay, so Dmitry Petrenko, I've been forgetting to say the names. You know, it doesn't matter. So, I've already answered the first half of this question. So, what was my favorite Kaiserreich playthrough? That's a tricky one. That's a tricky one. I've been enjoying doing the CSA sing-alongs, because I had that idea, like, almost a year ago, I want to say 9 months ago, to say, hey, I should do a CSA campaign, and I'll sing Woody Guthrie songs at the end to, like, set the mood. And so I enjoy that, but probably pound for pound, it is... Somebody let Verter Gaming in on what's going on, please. But probably pound for pound, it's my Russian Republic playthrough. Yeah. There's been a lot of other fun ones, like, for example, in the co-op with Gur, the Irish-American playthrough. That's a super fun one, which is impossible now, I think. What we did in that one is not actually possible. Have I gotten laid? Yes. Where do I live? El Paso, Texas. MacArthur's America or Savinkov's Russia? Again, like, what does that mean? Just like, does that mean who do I admire? Do I want to live there? Which one's more fun to play? Between the two, I think I'd lead Savinkov. Yeah. Yeah, I think Savinkov's more fun to play. Then we've got... What would you like to see in the next Hearts of Iron 4 DLC? Some sort of new mechanic, maybe spying. What the fuck is this doing in here? Oh, I didn't want this wallpaper. I don't like this wallpaper. They make it look like the D-Day landing when the Romans hit Britannia. It wasn't like that. What the fuck? Anyway, or it's just like some fucking incompetent cooks. Like, why are the ships on fire? I don't like this picture. So anyway, so maybe spying or something can something a little bit more intricate than the encryption decryption thing. For the next Hearts of Iron 4 DLC, I would like to see that. Damn, there was somebody who... Was it Count Christo or somebody else? But they did a good video saying 10 things I want to see in the next Hearts of Iron 4 DLC. In Hearts of Iron 4. And like some of the stuff has been implemented. Like I think he had some naval ideas that have been implemented. And he had some good ones. Like he definitely had thought about it more than I had. But so let's just say focus trees. I think the Soviet Union needs a rework. I'm not saying it needs alternate history paths, but right now there's tons of focuses that just take way too long. Maybe what they could do with the Great Purge is make it something that's a little more elaborate than just take the focus for it and wait. Maybe they could have it be something like the United States dealing with the Great Depression. Or maybe that's something after the Great Purge. So, because right now, you can kind of cheese the Great Purge with lessons of the Great War. Just do like a little tiny war and, you know, go grab Turkey for chromium or whatever. And, yeah. And so Soviet Union needs a rework. Spain needs a tree. I'm going to harp on about this non-stop. Okay, what the fuck happened to this picture? Okay. Look at this guy's laughing. He's like, oh, look at this picture. It's dumb. But Spain was... like, that civil war was what the world was watching. Everybody had their eyes on that for the 3 years before World War II breaks out. It's super important. And you can have fun with it. Like, have it be a thing where each well, obviously, each branch would get, you know, the Republic would get a tree, the Nationalists would get a tree. They could probably both branch afterwards, where the Republic could work with the Communists, meaning you could join the Comintern, or you could have them try to align themselves with the Allies or whatever. There's a few things you could have nationalist Spain go full blown Catholic fascism, or you can have maybe a monarchist route or a junta going on. You know, there's some stuff there for sure. I'm not as big into Finland as other people are, because I just feel it would turn out like the Netherlands tree did, in my opinion, where it's got enough stuff to keep you busy until historically when the war happens, but then that's it. So how would that work with Finland? Finland would be out by like 39. And yes, I know they joined with Germany to fight the Soviet Union, but nevertheless, don't dig it. William Blowers, remember, no cursing in the chat. The filter picks it up. So besides video games, would I like to teach history in a more traditional way? Absolutely. I'd love to be a teacher or a professor. And I have taught outside. Like, I've worked in museums. Let's see here. This best voting system. I'm not going to get into that. Actually, I'll tell a funny story about that, because the person's asking, what is the best voting system? Instant runoff, mixed member, proportional, probably others like ranked, and etc., etc. So, funny thing, I remember I was once taking a course in about like democracy and democratization, and we were getting into this. We looked at everything that I think it was the UN considers to be proper democratic. It's considered like a democratic way of voting. So there's like first past the post, instant runoff, ranked voting, a couple of other things. I think there was like 6 different systems that we looked at. And so for like a little paper in the middle of the term is, she says, okay guys, here is some data of like just a made up country. It's like, here is some data of a made-up country in a made-up election where there are 6 candidates, and you need to run the numbers using each system of proportional voting and determine who won. So, like, you need to like, the only thing this paper is, because it wasn't like a final paper, it was a middle of term paper, is like, you need to explain who wins each way and why. And so the way the numbers worked out is that depending on which of the 6 voting methods you would, counting the vote methods you would use, voting system you'd use, each of the 6 candidates would win. So it's like, yeah, there's different ways. Yeah, every single one had a different winner. Okay, let's see. Next question. Already answered one like that. Alright, Mega Mustafa asks, are you going to do a collaboration in the near future, and who will you do the collab with? Well, the second half of that question makes it sound like I already said yes to the first half, doesn't it, Mega Mustafa? I have no intentions of doing any collaborations in the future. Well, actually, there are some people I would like to do collaborations with, but I simply do not know when I would have the time to do it during the school semester. Plus, it's really tough to do multiplayer things because technical issues aside, and there are technical issues, it is often a real pain in the butt getting getting everybody together to like be able to record for a decent amount of time. Birder Gaming, you're getting really annoying. You're just something. You just, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's sass or what, but you're getting on my nerves, man. Why? Okay, BGK34 asks, why are you the greatest YouTuber I've ever watched? Also, what do you think is the best way to make tacos? Well, BGK34, that's the first half of that question is one only you can answer. Also, as for the best way to make tacos, I would say, well, that's tough. It's really about what you put into it, isn't it? I eat a lot of flour tortillas often because I live here in El Paso, so tortillas are kind of cheap. I don't know how it is elsewhere, but everybody eats burritos here. So I usually eat a lot of burritos. But if I'm gonna make tacos, like properly make some tacos, I go with the corn myself. Just make a bunch of them, put them in a little heater thing, and then load them up. Like with me and my buddies, when we'll have like a game night or something, and it's taco time, we'll like we make a spread, and we just basically make ourselves a buffet, or like whoever's hosting, maybe if they're the only ones who cook, like they make some sort of buffet. But as for the best way, you see, the only thing, I guess it's just like, what is a taco? If you consider a taco just whatever goes into the tortilla before you fold it, you just need to make whatever's best for you, dude. Like beef fajitas, chicken, eggs, potato, I don't know. What? You don't really want to do an egg taco. That's more of a burrito thing. Because that way you wrap it. I think an egg taco would spill everywhere. So, what are my favorite YouTubers? Okay, off the top of my head, in terms of like video game stuff, I really love Many a True Nerd. He's probably, and I don't even watch too much of his stuff actually. He puts out so much content, and I actually watch very little of it, like only a couple of series. And also I should say, at least in my experience, it's like, because I don't do this. This isn't my job. Like I got other shit I got going on in my life, but I don't have as much time to watch other people on YouTube as I did before, because I'm making my own stuff. And like I have like such a low patience these days for like if I'm watching somebody and they're just kind of, I just turn that shit off right away. I don't have time for that. And so yeah, Many a True Nerd is definitely my favorite YouTuber though. I like a lot of the games he plays, but he's also he just manages to be so entertaining to so many people, and probably like the thing I admire the most is he has such an amazingly positive community. Like at most they'll kind of just laugh about like they do like the perception -10 thing, but his community is definitely what I love the most about him. They're always so positive in the in like on every live stream he ever does and stuff. Oh, this is like the lewdest picture too. Actually, this is cut off. Why is it cut off? Like, oh wait, no, yeah, there's her leg wound, but there's a lot of cleavage, and like you can see the bra and I don't know. I think this is like the lewdest of them. And come on, guys, the saliva, damn. But anyway, so Many a True Nerd is up there. I also really like Hadrian. He does strategy games. He does like Stellaris and stuff like that. Well, Stellaris is a 4X game. But then who else do I like? I like Quill18. I haven't seen any of his stuff in ages. There's who else? But non like video game stuff, I enjoy. Oh, like here's another one, Worster. I like Worster. He does Pokemon speedruns, but like I don't watch his Twitch stuff. I like watch his old speedruns, but I love his speedruns whenever he does commentary. He's smart, but he's funny too. Yeah, the lewdest. It's the lewdest of the ones that I have. I should be more specific, Guardian. This is the lewdest in the wallpaper rotation I set up specifically for this stream. Also, I think the soundtrack's about to wrap up over here, so let's switch to a new one. Let's do this. Okay. So, where was I? Okay. So Quill 18, yeah, I really like him. He's just cool, laid back, chill, like he says. Okay. But there's other YouTubers I watch. I used to watch a lot of Brothers Green Eats. I think I was watching them. Yeah, I first started watching them 2 or was it 3? I think it was might have been 3 years ago almost. Yeah, almost 3 years ago. I think this was But like they were just these two guys who they just cooked. They were just two dudes in New York who cook a lot, and I think the first thing I'd ever seen from them was I was talking about cooking, and hold on a sec. So I was talking about cooking with somebody, and they showed me this video they had done. It was like 10 ways to make eggs, because I really like eggs. And then I just started watching more of their videos, and one of them, because it's these two brothers, Josh and Mike, and Josh did a thing where he wanted to push himself creatively and spend only $1 per meal for a week, but like the idea was, and because already I'm gonna tell you the same thing he was saying, like, oh, that's easy, just get your ramen and hot dogs. Which incidentally, can we dispel this fucking myth that that ramen is cheap? You know what's cheap? Rice is fucking cheap. All right, I don't want to start getting all 4 Yorkshiremen here, but like when people tell me, it's like fuck, I've had people who tell me, yeah, man, I just had to spend a bunch of money on stuff, so I got to eat ramen for a while. It's like, first off, you make a lot of fucking money, like this person in particular. It's like, secondly, like ramen is not fucking cheap. You don't know how to cook for shit, and like rice is cheap. Rice and beans are fucking cheap. So anyway, but the whole thing is like to like only spend $1 a meal for a week, but to make like excellent high quality food with it. Because like he wasn't doing this as it meant to be a budget thing, although he does talk about it. But it's like, hey, it's a good way to you know, yeah, rice, beans, potatoes, milk, and you're like, oh, milk costs a lot. You gotta get the calcium in you, dude. You need some of those vitamins. But if you just need bare nutrition, you can go a lot fucking cheaper than ramen, especially if you're getting good ramen. So it's because people, it's like, so when people say, oh, I gotta eat ramen for a while, they're really saying, I can't cook for shit, so I'm not gonna be able, but you know, I gotta tighten my budget. I can't eat fast food, so I'm gonna eat ramen instead. So anyway, what the hell was I getting at? Yeah, so anyway, it was interesting. So I used to watch a lot of the Brothers Green Eat. The thing was, Josh, he started to become this like kind of one of those YouTuber personality kind of guys. He was always trying to push like his music, and he was getting into weird stuff and strange edits, and it stopped being about the cooking, and so I can actually, if you even though their channel has now, I think they've passed 1 million subscribers a long time ago, you'll notice that Josh's videos, even though the one he's always like being a tryhard, he gets less views because the quality has significantly dropped, whereas his brother Mike, he spends time making a proper presentation. He's always got like the recipe and the description. He's very thorough, and like the difference in their personalities is so stark. And so like Mike is getting so many views, and like that gets into like YouTube theory and stuff like that. But basically, I think at the end of the day, people do want to see quality content, and like so Josh, you know, he's got the one who like he has a couple of videos that I think we're getting into 1 million views plus, but the like Mike's the one who's like consistently getting 6 figures. So anyway, am I a chef? Okay, answering a quick question from chat. No, I am not formal chef. I just really like to cook a lot. Because cooking is something you get to practice 3 times a day. Sort of. Alright, have I considered playing other games on my channel, and what is your favorite game? I've basically already answered this question. As a history major, is there any particular YouTube historians or history-dedicated YouTubers you personally enjoy watching or recommend? So specifically from YouTube, because like I watch documentaries, but specifically for YouTube, I don't watch that many because I really don't like them. They're I'm not naming any particular names here, but what I've just noticed here's the thing: you get these like Wikipedia historians, for lack of a better term, who they just say shit. Okay, like basically it's like, here's the thing with the internet. It is, you know, it allows you to have all the information in the entire fucking human race, right? Pretty much, in theory. But also anybody can post anything on it. And then people just like form opinions on shit, and there's no critical thinking, there's no sources, there's nothing like stronger than Wikipedia or like just gut feeling to back shit up. And so most people who talk about history on the internet on a video, it just pisses me off. But like, people will think they're geniuses, and like, here's the key, right? Here's the key. You got to have one of two things. You got to have a foreign accent, meaning foreign to the United States, or you got to be able to draw a cartoon, and everybody's going to fucking listen to you, right? And but there are ones I like, and like the most obvious example I would say would have been the Great War Project. And you know what? Actually, before I get more into that, and also here's the fucking thing, and actually it's kind of interesting, because I was just talking about this to somebody yesterday about like what my potential thesis was, and it's the opposite of imposter syndrome. You know, people are talking about imposter syndrome a lot lately. Did that like make the news or something? But anyway, so like here's the fucking thing. So people talk about, oh, this is the history, and a lot of times it's just a timeline. Like I was talking about somebody, I was talking about this to somebody yesterday about what things I was considering for a thesis, and I was saying I think I might do something thematic. For example, like, now this is not one that I'm going to make my thesis, because I was talking about a book about that, but like The Culture of Defeat, which there's a book called The Culture of Defeat, which looks into how do societies respond to being defeated in a war. So for the 3 examples primarily used in the book are Mexico after they were defeated by the United States, France after they were defeated in the Franco-Prussian War, and Germany after they lost World War I. So like, that's a thematic thing. You're talking about things that are happening on different continents. I was saying, like, you don't write, I don't think it's going to be a thing anymore, and it's going to happen less and less, where like, you don't just write a history of, not that it was much of a thing before, but it's like, this is the history of France during the Third Republic. No, you want to look into something deeper than that. Like, you want to look at something thematically, because you want to analyze it. And like, the reason is you're going to be seeing like less direct timeline sort of stuff. Oh yeah, I put this one in here. I put this wallpaper in here, like anticipating people bitching in the comments about the anime pictures. The whole idea was that, like, since we now have the internet, anybody can look up the dates of stuff very quickly. So Trivia Pursuit is becoming less and less important, because everybody's going to know the trivia. And like, that's something I try to emphasize with people sometimes when I'm having serious discussions with them about it. It's like, okay, so you know that World War II started on September 1st, 1939. You not only know that, you know when the exact date Ethiopia was invaded. You know what a T-34 tank's like engine is, and how fast it can go, and stuff like that. But what do you actually know about the war? What do you know about the war? What do you know about the German-Russian tank alliances, and like the reasons for that, and like the cooperation that they had with each other? What are the circumstances that led to the T-34 being built? Or like, just using an example, or just all sorts of shit like that. And yeah, Igor, this is me eating the popcorn, watching you be upset. So I specifically put that in there for those reactions. So yeah, like there's what I don't watch YouTube history people mostly because they most, like I said, most of them, they just got an accent or they know how to draw some cartoons and they don't source for shit and they have edgy opinions when it comes to like counterfactual history and they just say dumb shit all the time, and so I just don't watch it. There are some good ones out there. For example, the Great War Crew and the Time Ghost Army, they are doing amazing work. That is the sort of shit that the internet is for, I think. It is a prime example for that. And let me tell you something, when they hit the end of the Great War, the normal run, and then he called in the crew, Innie Nidell, he's the guy who like, he's the presenter. He's not the only one on the crew, obviously, but he calls in the whole crew. And, like, he talked about how this was, like, the greatest thing he'd ever done. It's like, dude, that is, like, I would love to be, like, somebody who did something like that. And it's just, yeah, it was, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna teared up a little bit. And plus, that was a whole day. That was just what a day of, remembering things. 100 years since Armistice Day. That was a somber day for me. Like, I'm out eating my free chicken wings because it was Veterans Day, but it was a somber day. Just reflecting. A lot of reflecting. Alright, moving on. Where do I hope to take the channel in the near future? No, we're going to talk about that later, and I kind of already have. Initial thoughts on Man the Guns. I did a whole podcast about that. Do I like El Paso? Somebody says, do I like El Paso? I used to live there. No, I don't. El Paso's best days were like 80 years ago. And I can't fucking stand what the city has become and is becoming. And yeah, it's got nice weather, usually, but that's kind of going away as well. So fucking, now this is a shit town. I don't care who knows I said it. And, somebody once told me, hey, Conquering History Games, what if, like, because, like, I study politics, so it's like, what if one day you want to be a politician, and they fucking hear that, like, oh, fuck El Paso. El Paso's shit right now. God damn, there's some shit, like they did a downtown renovation of the plaza that took like 4 years, cost the taxpayers a whole lot of money. It just hurt the downtown economy in a lot of ways, and he I said, like, every fucking person who had, because they put a plaque up like this was created by the city council, and then they were like showed who was, like, everybody whose name is on that plaque needs to fucking go just based on this and other shit. It's like, but they all need to fucking go, and more than that, they need to be fucking flogged in the plaza that they took 4 years to make. Like, goddamn. So fucking garbage. Yeah, El Paso's got it. It's just bad. El Paso's not in Mexico, Igor. Although, oh man. So true story. I was once going to school, and I received a call from a cousin of mine that lived in San Antonio, and he didn't want me to leave the house because he was so scared about, and I should say, this is a grown-ass man who was calling me. He was calling because he was scared about all the violence that was happening in El Paso. And the reason was Rick Perry, the fucking governor, had just been going on in some speech about how El Paso had outrageous gun violence and there's cartel murders and violence going on, and friggin' like, cars were literally blowing up in the streets. They made it sound like Baghdad, and sorry anybody from Baghdad who just heard me say that, but and I was saying, cousin, like, insert cousin name, but that's not happening, man. That's not what's going on. That he's going, no, it is. I've been watching the news. It's like that's happening in Juarez. That's not happening over here, because Juarez is across the border in Mexico, and it's like, god damn. And boy, El Paso. Incidentally, boy, has El Paso been looking good in the international news lately, like at the Trump rally that happened recently when a BBC reporter got beaten up, and it's like fuck, like I can't count how many times like it was just like, oh great, El Paso's made international news again, any good news? But you know what, and it's like, oh shit, we look bad again. But El Paso is not a good town, right now. It has not been for a while. There's some cool stuff in it, don't get me wrong. Just got a problem with all the damn people. And the construction and whatnot. So, you know, I'm gonna move, but I'm staying in here for a little bit right now. First off, because I'm going to university. Well, technically, I'm going to university in Las Cruces. So yeah, I don't even go to a university here in El Paso. Anyway, yeah. So I technically commute to Las Cruces, but I've got a good apartment at least and a good deal on it. So I'm riding this lease out. Once this lease is through, I'm probably gonna move up to Cruces. So yeah, where was I? Questions. Have I played Medieval Total War? Would you ever consider doing a Total War series? Yes, I have, and yes, I have, and yes, I will, baby. What first got me interested in history? That got answered. Do you ever prefer consoles in your life, like PS3, PS4, and if yes, which do you prefer? Also, what do you think about South America, especially Brazil? So there was a lot to fucking unpack there. Yeah, I have played consoles, like I said. I've played the Wii, I've played Xbox, Nintendo 64 was the console I had growing up. Just had two games, Mario Kart 64 and Super Mario 64. And like, what do you mean by, okay, hey, actually, you, the one who asked this is in the chat. What do you mean by what do I think about South America? And please use proper grammar. So while he's typing that out, let's see if there's any shorter questions I can answer. Should the German Kaiserreich tree be reworked? Like a full makeover? I wouldn't think so. I know that they're still working on some stuff towards the bottom, but I think it's been perfectly fine. It's fine. Oh, do I like South America or not? What the fuck kind of... Sorry, Igor, but what the fuck kind of question is that? Like, do I like a continent? Will I ever visit it someday? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I'd like to. There's a lot of cool stuff in South America that'd be worth seeing. You know, and also South Texas is down there. I guess the question would be then, what South American country would I want to visit the most? Also, what the fuck? Like, are there people? Is there anybody gonna ask me a question like if I hate Europe or not, or Asia or not? You know, which one would I visit? It's always just cool to go to a new country. It probably would be Brazil. Yeah, it would probably be Brazil, or maybe go to Peru. And again, I live near the Rockies, so how impressive can the Andes be? Alright, anyway, let's see. We know you live in El Paso. Luis Caballero asks, we know you live in El Paso, so how often do you go to the Mexican side of the border? Would you say tacos taste better on the Mexican side of it? Okay, let me answer the second part of that question first, about tacos tasting better on the Mexican side of it. I once heard somebody say this, and I think it is so freaking true, that when an area becomes famous, like food famous, so for example, Cubanos in like Miami, or what's another example? I'm trying to think of like famous foods, or like New York pizza, Chicago pizza, things like that, or like any kind of touristy place, is that everybody and their mother starts opening a restaurant of that type of food, and they put it out, and the tourists come in and they don't know any better, and they go, oh my god, it's so good. So you've got a bunch of amateurs who are just making like a lazy version of something. And I'm talking about, this is not specifically tacos in Mexico, I'm just talking generally. It's like, so you got a bunch of people who are making a half-assed version of something because it's a famous tourist food. But then you've also got people who, they make a really good version of it, but the thing is, they stagnate. They have like their formulaic version of it, and they never ever do a variety on it anymore. And so like, they don't push it. Oh yeah, Chicago dogs, that's an example, yeah. So I think, you know, tacos, you can get fucking good tacos on this side of the border and in Mexico, and, you know, I'm just saying, shorter drive here to stay on this side of the border. There's actually some good Juarez dogs. There's a guy near where, who always, near where I live, he sets up a hot dog cart, like, in the middle of the night to catch people. He's always there, so he must make good money. But like to catch people coming out of the bars, because, you know, you drink and they're hungry. So it's like, Uber driver, pull over, man. Gotta get some J-Town dogs. Those are good. Anyway, oh yeah, how often do I go to the Mexican side of the border? I used to go pretty often. I used to go like get clothes over there because, you know, things were cheaper. But geez, I haven't gone in years. I wanted to go a couple months ago to go to a certain thing, but I just the idea of the traffic or like finding a place to park and then walking, it's just, it would have to be for a certain event or something that I'd go over. All right. What's the next question? What's my favorite Hearts of Iron 4 mod and why? Man, that's tough. Texas Spirit, don't do it. Don't join, don't do it. But, just don't do it. I would say... Igor, I just answered that question, and, like... My favorite... I'd say Kaiserreich is... Kaiserreich's my favorite history mod. Equestria at War is my favorite conversion mod. Like total conversion mod. They're both so freaking good. And they're part of a co-op, so they influence each other. In fact, I believe one of the developers of Kaiserreich has been quoted as saying, "When in doubt, look at Equestria at War." Yes, the best. You're right. Best Hearts of Iron 4 mod player-led peace conferences. Isn't that the truth? So yeah, I guess I should elaborate. I really like Kaiserreich just because it's a so much more in-depth version of vanilla, plain and simple. It's an alternate history, so not that it doesn't still happen, but I also like that there's not people talking about politics as much, real world politics in the chat, because it's all alternate history. It still comes up, that's for sure. And actually, that's something I like about Equestria War too, because Equestria War is completely fictional, so there's nobody talking about real life politics in there. Plus, the community is great. The community's friendly. I guess, you know, it's right in the name. Friendship is magic, so it's a friendly community. But there's also a lot of great stuff in there. Terrific writing, terrific nation building, good focus trees, good replayability on so many countries. So yeah, it's... And Führerreich is getting there, but it's still kind of an early... And I haven't played 0.2, so I don't know. Yeah. Who the fuck is Nico? Yeah. All right, Jaden, you're on you're on thin ice. I don't know what the fuck's going on in this chat, but you're on thin ice right now, buddy. Hey, buddy, hey, pal, hey, friend. Yeah, so, alright, World War I or World War II? I don't even understand that question. What country would I consider traveling to someday? Well, I've already been to a few countries, been to, over the course of my life, at least visited. Visited England, I visited Ireland, I spent like a week in Ireland. That was, in Dublin to be specific. That was great, I definitely want to go back one day. I've lived in Germany. I've visited France and Belgium, but I was too young to remember it. Of course, I visited Mexico. I've been to Puerto Rico, which is, you know, it's another country, even though it's a territory. Where else have I been? But like, but anyway, places I would consider traveling. There's so many European countries I would like to travel to. Germany, France, Italy, Spain, Greece, pretty much any country in Europe. Maybe Croatia one day. I always hear Croatia is the place to go. It's like, do you want to look at like Roman history, but you don't want to pay Italian tourist prices? Go to Croatia. Like, check out Diocletian's palace and all the other stuff. And there's beaches. I'm not too much into beaches, really. I see enough sand. Beaches are okay. Like, I'll go swim in them if there's one, but but outside of Europe, I'd like to visit China someday. Go check out Sichuan province, Shanghai. You know, it would just be interesting. Japan too. Oh boy, like one of my fantasy things. Like if I was ever a millionaire or something, I'd love to go to Japan to catch an NJPW show, catch like Dominion or Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah. Some African countries too. Well, you know, I just love travel. Just travel's great. I'd go anywhere. I would go pretty much anywhere. And I'm not counting deployment. Jeez, join the army, see the world. That doesn't count. I did not say Richard III, Michael Krause. Do not misinterpret me. Have I been to Scotland? No. That'd be nice to see. Go get some scotch, right? Although, you know what's kind of funny is I don't drink when I'm on vacation because, like, even though I consider myself a connoisseur of alcohol, all sorts, there's very few boozes that I just won't have. Like, but so for example, I went to Ireland. The only drink I had there the whole time was Guinness because they gave us I had a free one in the Guinness factory that they gave us for taking the tour. But because you know you're on vacation, usually it's you know, you gotta go to a bar or something, and you gotta play bar prices, or like Vegas. I've been to Vegas a lot, you know, America's playground, and there was only one place I ever buy booze when I'm in Vegas because it has better prices than even here at home. It's the Ellis Island. That's my favorite place in Las Vegas. And you're like, isn't Ellis Island in New York? It's a place called Ellis Island. But anyway, but I was saying, like, if I went to Scotland, I feel like I'd want to get the scotch. But this is how I also felt like when I went to Ireland about trying whiskey, because it's like, am I gonna have the best whiskey ever? And then I'm mad that I can't drink it anymore. Like, I don't know. No, I've not fetched myself a drink. Give me 7 minutes. I'll go have a drink. Get a drink. So yeah, I like in Vegas, outside of Ellis Island. Yeah, I just don't drink when I'm on vacation. I feel like that'd be something I would want to do if I was in Scotland. Was try the scotch. So I'd have to, maybe if I found some good prices. Anyway, next question. Do you see yourself with a future career on YouTube, or are you just doing it for fun? Yeah, I'm pretty much just doing it for fun. Although I'm going to talk more about, now that I've hit 20,000, I'm going to have a separate video that'll probably go up tomorrow morning or tomorrow night where I talk about the future of the channel. But, like, this is not my, like, if I could think of, what do I think of ice? I don't know. It's cold. What the fuck kind of question? Anyway, the where was I? Oh yeah, yeah. What I was saying is like, so I don't want to make YouTube a career just because it's too much of a crapshoot at times. You know, obviously I want to go into something history related, like work in a museum or something. One sec. Wait. Oh shoot. Hold on a sec. I'm writing down a question. So like I just right now I just take any job anywhere that I can that works with the hours, like because that's school is what's most important. Oh, is that what you meant, Texas Spirit? I'm not answering that. That's a no. That is only going to cause trouble, me answering that question in any way. So like basically because school is most important, I just will take any job that provides me the hours that are best suited to me going to school. So, for example, on yeah, ice and scotch. No, I never put ice in scotch. Um, but you know, remind me to you know the ice question. I've got a funny response to that there. So hold on a sec. Oh, I was just getting some water. Anyway, so for example, it's kind of funny some of the experiences I've had. Like I picked up a job at Twin Peaks once. It's a restaurant here in the United States. It's basically like lumberjack Hooters, and I told the guy when he hired me, I have jobs to help me pay my way while I'm going to school. School's always going to be my number one priority, and this is like when I'm first meeting the dude. Like I didn't even submit a resume because the Twin Peaks was just opening, so I had literally walked in, and the guy said, "Come fill out an application." I started talking to this guy, and he like work on the come fill this out, and I was saying, I want to be perfectly clear. It's like this is going to be my like I am not going to get called in at any hour that I have school. If I'm not at school, you want me here working 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. If it's my day off, let's do it. Yeah, okay, hold on a sec. Let me pull up for you what the Twin Peaks girls look like if you don't understand. Let's see here. So this is like Twin Peaks waitresses, basically. You know, like they have shorts, and they have actually a very strict dress code, believe it or not, which I'll talk about in a second here. But so anyway, I tell the guy I am only going to work to pay for school, and then like he says, yeah, dude. In fact, I insist that you write down your school schedule right now so we can make sure that you have that you are only working when you're not in school. And I lost that job in 1 week because like I got assigned. And then it was like a Friday, and I had a Friday class, and so it hit like 11:30, and so I went, okay, that's what it is, because that's what was on my schedule. 11:30 clock out. Like basically, I just do prep work on Friday mornings, and he and then my manager's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm leaving," and it's like, "What are you talking about? We need you." And that's not what the schedule has. He goes, "Huh?" And like we looked at the schedule, and he goes, "Oh, right, fuck, you know what, that was my bad. I forgot you only worked till that time today." And so then I get called later that afternoon, like, "Hey, what's your schedule again?" And I gave it to them again, and then they called me again back, and they said, "We're gonna let you go." And okay. Didn't miss it, but you know, I was kind of uncomfortable working at Twin Peaks. It just was you know what, I'll do that. Let's talk about that later. I'm gonna write that myself, Twin Peaks. If anybody's interested, would anybody be interested in me talking about my experience at Twin Peaks? And I wasn't uncomfortable for, well, there was a lot of reasons I was uncomfortable, and they didn't all have to do with the women, the way they were dressed. That's not, although, yeah, never mind. If somebody wants me to talk about the Twin Peaks stuff, I will later. Let me know in the comments. So what was I? Yeah, so it's like I've been a security guard. I've worked in warehouses. I've done all sorts of shit. Most of it's not related with history because it's just paying for my school, so I can eventually go into history. I don't want to do YouTube for the rest of my life. All right. When I was watching your Mexico playthrough, you talked about stuff like not doing a face reveal because of the Hearts of Iron 4 community, and I was wondering if you could explain some of the issues with it and how to improve it. Fact of the matter is we know certain types of people who are in the Hearts of Iron 4 community. First off, I do value my privacy in a lot of ways. Like, I don't tell people who I know personally, except for like my close friends who know that, because I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to be recording this weekend, and then or something. But like I like the anonymity of YouTube. I like the idea that I'm only judged by what I say and what I do, and not who I am, not because of my race, color, or creed, or anything like that. And it doesn't. And you know, some people have said like, so are you a minority? And I say it's not about if I'm a minority or not. Like, I could be anything, and it's gonna cost shit. It's gonna cost shit, and it's just gonna be annoying YouTube comments. I know, but the less annoying YouTube comments I can get, the better. That truly is. I want to be judged on just what I say and do on the channel, not on like whatever I am. See, now everybody's imagining me all swole since I said I was a security guard. Actually, I need to start cutting, because not cutting my wrists or anything, but you know, summer's coming up, so I gotta start cutting. In fact, you know what? Here, let me go get that scotch. But but after that, you know, it's funny enough because tomorrow I'm gonna start doing some cutting for dieting. In fact, let me go get that scotch. It's a celebration. 20,000 subscribers, everybody! Hype, 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 hype! But anyway, the where were we? There's the Scott. Wait, oh, forgot to get a glass for it. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I've actually got 2 drinks here, incidentally. Well, Texas Spirit, all I can say is my experience in the military was very negative. But that's not everybody's. I just always tell everybody to not do it. And I don't want to convince you on a live stream whether you should or should not, but I will say that like in real life, whenever I meet somebody who's thinking about joining the military, I always tell them don't do it, and like I'll talk to them about it. But I always just say, what I always tell people afterwards, like you know, like I knew somebody who her cousin, she wanted me to talk to her. It's like, hey, you know, she actually I say like, hey, my cousin wants to talk to you because she's thinking about joining the military, and so we talked, and afterwards I said, because I was like going, no, don't do it, and so some of this girl, the one who was joining the military, said, why are you convincing her not to do it? And I said, look, I'm telling her how shit goes down. If she wants to still join, she's going to join. But if me just talking to her a few minutes, and like that was enough to say no, then yeah, it's like, then it's good that person didn't go in. But everybody's got their reasons. And you know what, there's enough people, you know, anybody has a recruiter to tell them all the reasons they should join. They don't have somebody to tell them why they should not. So I'm here for that. Anyway, so let's quickly discuss the drinks I have here. I've actually got 2 bottles here. And because it is a very nice occasion, and because I'm going to be starting my cut soon, I am going to I'm going to have a little bit of some wild, this is going to start sounding like an advertisement, but this is my pound for pound favorite whiskey. Favorite alcohol, probably, period. Like that's like a liqueur, not like beer, but like a, you know, vodka, tequila, rum, those kind of hard spirits. So this is Wild Turkey Rare Breed Barrel Proof. I'm not going to say it's the best whiskey in the world, but for the price to quality, it is so goddamn good. It is. I always just cherish this stuff. I try to only have one on like I only have some on nice occasions, like I'll have a New Year's Eve one, or maybe a Christmas one, or I'll have some. I always say at the end of each semester, I say for every A I have a shot. Not that I shoot it, but oh, is everybody busting out their drinks? Yes, Finnish vodka joins the fight, and some Brahma. Anyway, so we're gonna have a pouring of Wild Turkey Rare Breed Barrel Proof ASMR. Okay, so I'm gonna be sipping on this for a bit, and then if I still want to keep going, I'll have I'm gonna have some of the other scotch that I got here. Now Rare Breed's pretty strong. You know, it's 58.4% alcohol, and so some people like to cut it with water. And I won't lie, I sometimes put like a drop or 2 in there, but I think that's part of it. Like, it's what comes with it. Like, it's part of it. So anyway, cheers, everybody. That wasn't like a burn. That was just a oh. I just always, the good stuff you want to keep in your mouth. Here's a general rule of thumb, incidentally, for people who, like, if you ever drink scotch or something that's like aged 8 years, 12 years, 10 years, whatever years. Good general rule of thumb is you keep it in your mouth for 1 second for every year it's been in a barrel. Oh, I'm gonna take one more sip, one more swip, and you guys will hear my swishes. Let's get some ASMR. Once again, another clink. Cheers, everybody. Wait, oops, fucked it up. Cheers. Oh. Now this bottle's not aged. Well, I don't know how long it's aged for. It's aged in, like, you know, the barrel, but it doesn't have an age statement on it. I just like to let it go. Oh my gosh. So fucking good. Alright. Let's move on through the question. Dogs or cats? They're both fine. I personally prefer cats, but dogs are fine too. Dogs can be great, actually. I've got cats. If I had the option, would I ever want to experience space travel, possibly even a trip to the moon? Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. So, Nitra Games question. Do you think Paradox games, Hearts of Iron 4, Crusader Kings 2 mostly, do a good job portraying history, even if they have a somewhat alternate history feel to it, since the player can make an impact? What other games do you think have a good historical background? Well, it depends on the Paradox game. I think Victoria 2 is cool. I know a lot of people enjoy Victoria 2 the most out of the Paradox games because there's a much lesser influence on, like, who your elected head of state is. This is actually EU4 music, and I don't even play EU4, but we could do some CK2 in a bit. Anyway, so because like but it's all about societal movement, right? All the isms that are arriving on the global stage, and factories and stuff such as that. So that one's good. Hearts of Iron 4, you know, the Hearts of Iron 4 misses a lot of stuff, and they're still working on it. But you know, I saw a post the other day, and it really is true. Why does Hearts of Iron 4 not show atrocities that are committed by the right wing, that is? So like, why don't because, or I should say, like they were saying, the Great Purge is in there and nobody complains. Why is there not some sort of Holocaust representation? Now, I'm not saying there should be. In fact, I think I would be against it because of the shitstorm it would create. But it kind of is true that you don't hear about people going, why is the Great Purge in there? The Great Purge didn't happen, or the Great Purge is greatly exaggerated, and things like that. And yet you have people who are asking for the Holocaust to be in there, and yet you also know there'd be people who would say, why is the Holocaust in there? Oh, have the devs actually discussed this? Yeah, but I think they also, even though Hearts of Iron 4 is not exactly a children's game, they don't want genocide in there, but there's like other things in Hearts of Iron 4 where it's like they allow that, and it's like other stuff. So anyway, so Hearts of Iron 4, it's not really too accurate. And like, plus I guess, you know, like the Holocaust is one of those things. Like, I think the writers of the first Captain America movie, they had said how they briefly considered having Captain America liberate a concentration camp, and then they realized if you have a concentration camp scene in the movie, that movie is now about that. It's just such a huge thing. So what I'm saying is Hoi 4 is not very accurate in a lot of ways. And like CK2, I do like the marriages and political alliances and stuff like that. The world they build tends to be really accurate. Those of you who've ever seen my CK2 campaigns, you can go to any random date, and with like some exceptions, because like maybe they want to push something just to the beginning of the year, but they go into detail about historical figures that nobody gives a fuck about, frankly, except for people like me, and they'll have them in the game, and they'll do different sorts of things. Like they'll have individual people who were crowned by popes. That's shown if you go to some random date in like 1252 or something. So that's pretty cool. I haven't played EU4 in years, and I don't have any plans to do it in the future, but ow. I'm saying, oh, but let's talk about other games, though, that have great historical background. A lot of the AGEOD games, they've got ones on, like, the Succession Wars in Europe. They have a Rome one, which is basically like their version of EU Rome. They've got a Russian Civil War one and stuff like that. There's Pharaoh's very good. Pharaoh and Cleopatra. So there's plenty of games out there that have great historical accuracy in terms of the detail, and also understanding how the world worked in a lot of ways. Stuff like that. What new patch are you talking about? Anyway, so somebody asked, where did I go to college? I used to go to UTEP, which is the University of Texas at El Paso, and right now I am trying to get my master's degree from NMSU, which is New Mexico State University, and is UTEP's greatest rival, and I feel like I joined the winning team by switching over to them. It's seriously night and day, the way that the two universities are, which is a damn shame, because UTEP had excellent professors, but just everything outside of that was a lot of shit. Right. What exactly was the thought process when I started the chat? Yeah, I've already answered that. Favorite mod, I've answered that. Can you tell? Alright, so this is, I'm going to read out the whole thing here. I swear to God, I'm going to time out the next person who says El Paso's in Mexico. Can you tell more interesting stories while you were in the Army? I know you don't want to make your time in the Army the most interesting thing about you, but any story would do fine. And this is true, so I think, I don't remember if I mentioned this in a live stream or some video I did, but when I was moving into my current apartment, it was like one of those friend of a friend situations, but basically, this person's entire class, like he was, she was going through the detention officer academy here in El Paso, and she got her entire class to come out to help me move, and like, you know, I just fed them, but so basically this was unusual because I had a bunch of strangers helping me move. Like, not everybody was strangers, but like mostly it was strangers. So I'm talking to these people, and like there was this one guy in particular who all he fucking would talk about was while he was in the Army, and this and that and this and that, Army, and I and the thing was, it's like, is this the only thing you can talk about? And then it came up that he also has a YouTube channel, and he was trying to get it going, and so it's like, oh hey, we could talk about that, and like that conversation was for like 5 seconds. Then it was like back to the Army, and I was like, oh my god, this dude is boring the shit out of me, and I've had other experiences like that, and I thought, do I ever want to be that guy? So I just don't like to. I just try to not talk about when I was in the military anymore in real life, and I don't want to talk about it on YouTube anymore either. No, it wasn't a YouTube channel where he talked about the Army. It was a gaming one. Yeah, he was playing like Fallout and stuff. But no, he's, oh my god, a YouTube channel where he just talks about the Army. I get maybe something that could work. You know, it's like tell people about what their experiences were like. Like, I remember before I went to basic training, I looked it up and I found some guy, he had a blog, and he basically, he had kept a diary while he was in basic training, and he just, when he got out, he uploaded it, not going into a lot of detail, but just basically explaining what it was like. So, so that was something I read before I went, so I can kind of know, all right, stuff that's coming up that I can expect. Anyway, so interesting. So here, I've decided I'm gonna tell, like, I saw this question, I thought I'm gonna tell like goofy Army stories instead of oh, let me tell you this, yeah, gung ho, and dude, because like so much of it, especially like the basic training stories, they just turn into this one time at band camp, like that's what it just starts to sound like to me. So I had some particular stories that I was thinking that would be funny. But I wanted to tell some goofy ones. Oh, I know. I've told this one before, but so in fact, I'm deliberately only going to talk about things that anyway, goofy stories, and things that like make the Army look particularly stupid and stuff like that, so we can get it off of its a collective. You know, we can maybe get it off the pedestal a little bit. So. I was an artilleryman. We shot howitzers, you know, boom and whatnot. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. This is a howitzer. Look, you see, there's the wheels and there's the end of it, and stuff's shooting out the end. Yeah, it's a howitzer. So, oh shit. Sorry. I swear I didn't mean to do that. So artillery, yeah. Artillery. So we were in my unit. We were in Fort Hood, just doing some training, and so we set up the gun, which you know, I'm gonna draw it as like an old-fashioned, like. Yeah, like a cannon from the Civil War. There's the thing, and then there's the cannonball. Artillery. Oh shit. Yeah, it's just I can't figure this out. It's gonna look whatever. But okay, let's just do this. Let's get rid of it all. So here is what I'm gonna do. So when you are firing practice rounds in the artillery, for example, something like this, you have an area you shoot into, obviously, like that. So this is the this is where you fire your rounds, you know, and what we're just gonna do is we're gonna do X's instead. So my unit set up, let's say here, and the whole idea is that you fire your rounds in an arc, obviously, into a designated area that was supposed to be an X. So we're shooting our rounds, and another battery shows up, and they set up their howitzers right here. We immediately start going, excuse me, but what the fuck are you doing? And the other thing, oh shit, I screwed that up. So we say, what the fuck are you doing? You're directly in front of us. And actually, here's what I could do to, let me do, fuck. So they tell me, I'm like telling the story so fucking slow and badly. I need to like emphasize it better, because it's like 2D but also 3D. Like I'm drawing 2D but it is 3D. So we're firing into the area like that. I guess this kind of shows it a little bit better. So we're shooting from down here. Artillery. Alpha battery. We were alpha battery over here. So they sit up in our arc of fire, like right here. Right? Bravo. Bitches. Okay. So they show up here, and they said, what the fuck are you doing? You're in our line of fire. And they said, no, well, it's arcing over us, so it's not a problem. And they said, if you want to be dumbasses, this is your problem. We are officially lodging a protest into the air. So they set up there. Now, we were at the night falls, and so it was nighttime, so we were beginning to fire illume rounds. So for those of you who don't know, the way illume rounds work is, let's like create a little side box here. So the way a illume round works is, just imagine shooting a flare, but then the flare stops, and it like the flare, oh shit, so like the round explodes, and like just imagine like a little flare coming down, drifting. So like you might shoot the arc, but like it goes off here and then starts to go down, right? And so it's just illuminating the area like a huge flare. Now this thing is, you know, it's gonna cause fires. Actually, I had an instructor in AIT who told me about how he got a bronze star because he figured that these insurgents in Iraq were in a house, and he shot illume rounds in a way that they would fall on the roof of the house, or like not the house, it wasn't a house, like the building they were in, and it set on fire, so it smoked them out. And he's like, they gave me a bronze star for my shit. That shit, you believe that? Anyway, so we're getting ready to fire a round now, and here's how things work. Now, I spent time on the actual gun line, but my main job was I was a 13 Delta, so we coordinated the fire. So I was in a fire direction control center. Now the way it works in a fire direction control center, everybody, including the lowest fucking ranked private who's like right out of, you know, AIT, it's everyone's responsibility that if they hear a wrong number or anything incorrect happening, they need to fucking stop it. That is their job. Because, like, you know, people can get hurt, especially, like, you know, imagine if, like, you're in a combat situation and, like, you're putting in the wrong coordinates, now you're shelling your own fucking guys. You know, so it's everybody's responsibility to speak up if they hear something wrong. So we're getting ready for the illume round, and it was going to be in the air for 40 seconds. And so I hear somebody just say 4, And then that was it. It starts getting confirmed. It's a me and one of my sergeants. At the same time we hear it, and I got turned to my other sergeant and said, "Did they just say 4?" And it was, "You heard it too?" And we immediately go, "What?" Yeah, we just to get everybody to stop immediately and like get that number fucking correct, because it's the amount of time before the thing's gonna go off. So we get everything fixed. Now we're firing again. And you know, whenever you catch a mistake happen and you fix it, you feel like really good afterwards. You're like, "Ah, yeah, fuck yeah, that was, we just avoided a disaster there. That's pretty awesome." So we shoot the round, unrelated to the 4-second thing. The fucking Illume round goes off right here and drifts down onto Bravo Battery, who have their cover up. It immediately goes up in flames. And so we could see it. We're looking at it happen. And my lieutenant goes, I just hear him kind of under his breath. I don't know if he had meant for anybody here. He just goes, "There goes my bar." That shit was on fire. And then, like, anytime Bravo was giving a shit, I said, hey, just be sure that you don't set up in front of an howitzer. You know? Yeah, B is for burn. B is for... Oh my gosh, that was the dumbest shit. Alright, so that's one Army story. And I guess I'll kind of tell one other one. Just one of those. I don't want to sound like... Because I was an enlisted guy. I'm not trying to sound like one of those guys like, "Oh man, fucking... you know, people of higher rank than me are stupid." But there was this other time we were in Louisiana, and me and this guy, he was like probably, I'd say, my best friend while we were in, and we were doing land navigation. So the Akatsuki, okay, quick Akatsuki story. So it was basically, you know, the concept of fetishes came up, and you know, because that's what happens, you're in the military. And this one guy, and like we were talking about things like what would we like people to wear while we were having sex with them. And this one guy, swear to God, he talks about, he says, "Yeah, I've always wanted to fuck a girl while she wore the Akatsuki robe." And then it happened, and it was the fucking greatest. And everybody's going, the Akatsuki from like Naruto Shippuden, you know the robes they wear, the black robes. Hold on a sec. Here we go. Like these robes. This says like, "Yeah, I've always wanted to fuck a girl while she wore one of those." And then I did, and it was the greatest. And we're going, "What? Are you fucking serious?" And then, without anybody even saying pics or it didn't happen, whips out his phone and shows the pictures. It was just, oh shit! It's just, okay. Well, there's worse fetishes out there, I suppose. Oh man, that was good stuff. That guy had some really specific fetishes. Anyway, that's kind of one guy I wish I had kept in contact with. Actually, he was cool. Anyway, so second story. This is just kind of one of those, you know, kind of funny things. So we were doing land navigation, and the way land navigation works, this was we were in Louisiana. The way land navigation is basically you have an area. That's actually really dumb for me to do that. So you'll have an area, and you'll have like several points throughout the area, and the purpose of land navigation is, with just your map and a compass, you need to like, you know, think of them. You need to go there. So me and this other guy, we were both pretty chill, especially during this particular trip in Fort Polk. We were just trying to chill, and like neither of us were NCOs, and we get partnered together to go out and do the land nav course. Now we were both very, very good at it, and it's rather simple. Yeah, you gotta like shoot your azimuth and all sorts of stuff like that. And so we go out, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. We just are hitting all of our points. super quick. And so we get to the last one, and we just turn to each other and we say, you know what? This is like we're actually alone out here. Got nobody fucking hassling us, no goddamn stupid captain around, and all this shit. But anybody else is like, let's just, like, we did this super fast. Let's chill for a second and just like enjoy the nature, so to speak. Now, here's the thing with when you're doing land nav. It's kind of like when you're doing a math problem. It's super easy to get lost if you don't do something correctly, like when you shoot your azimuth. So like if you like work off your you're like, oh, I need, like, what I'm just saying is like you might go, all right, I'm hitting, like, maybe this is the correct path you're supposed to take, right? But then you do math wrong, and then you end up, you're like, okay, so like you maybe you did or like, math, like you shoot your directions wrong, and like you go this way correctly the first time, but then you forget to turn, so then you go this far in like the same direction. And then, like, then you make your turn, like, maybe you do it correctly, but now everything is off. Everything is off because you made a wrong turn. So it's like, you can very quickly get lost, rather simply. In fact, in some land nav courses, actually in the one that we were in, because I guess of how big it was, they have what's called, like, the safety azimuth. It goes by different names, but it's like basically saying, if you're lost, just stop wherever you are. Like if you're irretrievably lost, you just need to like go in this direction on the map, and eventually like you'll hit the fence line in a road, and you'll be able to get back. So we're just chilling out, and then and everybody's supposed to be in groups of two. That's funny, not again. So everybody's supposed to be in groups of 2, and we're at our last point, and it's just me and him chilling. I think we were playing the harmonicas, actually. But, so, these 8 people, swear to God, 8 people, of which, like, 6 of them were NCOs, come stumbling out of the bushes, and they're, like, out of the tree line, the trees, and they're just like, is this point 16? And just, not even a little bit. And they're just, and they were all frustrated, and they're all arguing with one another. And so, like, basically, we helped them get back on track, and I just remember there was just this one private, and I remember it was interesting because she was a girl. I don't know why she was there, because she wasn't in artillery, but I guess there was tons of units training there because it was like some big war games. But I just remember that this one female private was the only one who said thank you. That is like, but damn, they're all sweaty, and like it was kind of a funny story. Anyway, we talked about that way too long. But it's because that's it. That's the only army question I'm answering. Some stupid ones. Just to realize, like, the silly shit that happens in the army. So, from any of the countries you played as in Hearts of Iron 4, which would you rather live in the most? Let me finish off this. I've actually still got this rare breed here. Let me have the last bit of it, while I think about it. And we'll also have some ASMR. Oh, yeah. It's amazing, Nitro Game. That was the last bit of it. Perfection indeed. Okay, so I'd probably say, it's tough to say because it's like, are you thinking about... Yeah, right, it's the booze setting in. That's why I started going on with that story. But it's kind of tough, like, obviously I don't want to get drafted and die, right? And like, so if we were just to put all political ideology aside, I would say probably Social Democratic Mexico, since it never ever goes to war. Actually no, but they could be invaded by MacArthur. So I'm trying to think of like what's the most peaceful place in the world. But Yeah, so like there's no political ideology going into it. I guess it really would just be a question of where I'd want to live. Yeah, I guess I'd stay with that. Social Democratic Mexico, because I wouldn't go to war. And I think I'd adjust to the culture pretty quick. I already live in El Paso. It's like 70% Mexican, right? So, okay, next question. What music are you into? Also, any plan? Oh, you're right. Quentin Roosevelt's USA. They don't really go to war either. Yeah, I guess that. You know what? Yeah, modifying it. Quentin Roosevelt's USA. What music am I into? Also, any plans for the channel in the future? You can tell us. I'm gonna talk about that tomorrow. But music, yep, it's Led Zeppelin. Yeah, Led Zeppelin's my favorite band, but I'll listen to pretty much anything. I'm not too picky, as long as I feel the music has substance. For example, lyrics. Now, I've sometimes argued with people about that because, especially, I remember. Okay, here's an army story. I remember there was this guy. He was super into like beat type music, and there were guys who. Oh, Neutral Ireland. Changing my answer again. Neutral Ireland. It's because I never really thought about it. Yeah, Neutral Ireland. Beautiful place. Anyway, plans for the channel, plans for the future. I'm gonna have in a video tomorrow. So music that I'm into, I'll listen to pretty much anything. Like I listen to a lot of soundtracks. Obviously, we're listening to a soundtrack right now, like music soundtracks, and then music soundtracks could be really different. I love Michael Giacchino. Oh my God, Michael Giacchino is like the John Williams of our time and more. He is. I've liked him ever since he did the music for Lost, and really, even though I like him so much, I don't follow him as to what his new projects are, because I really love when I'm in a theater, and like I always stay for the credits, just to like, you know, if, well, not always, but like it's like if I like the score, I'll kind of sit around and see who did the score for this music, and like I'll be thinking, damn, the score was really good, and then boom, Michael Giacchino, and it's just, God damn it, he did it again. The fucking genius did it again. And like, if you don't know who Michael Giacchino is, he has done The Incredibles. He did Lost. He's done the Planet of the Apes reworks. He did Rogue One. Now, I'm not liking the new Star Wars stuff that come out, but I remember watching Rogue One. It was one of those things I got dragged to it, but I was there, and I remember afterwards going, because we didn't watch the credits, but it was like, I really liked the score in that movie though. There were some good pieces, and I look it up, and it's fucking Michael Giacchino, and he's done it again. He's done it again. He sneaks up on you. Also, he's done the music for some Call of Duty games. And he did that. He's done. He did Coco. How do you write his name? It's Michael, just spelled the normal way, and then Giacchino is Giacchino. Now there's other score people I like. I like Hans Zimmer, but damn, Hans Zimmer. This is some weird talk about a film composer, but talk about a guy who's just bought into his own hype and he's just jacking off now. Yeah, Zimmer's just jacking off, but like, that's the example. So like, you know, I listen to scores, but I listen to classic rock. There's very, very few modern bands that I listen to, meaning like this side of the 20, you know, the millennial divide, or like, you know, 2000 or onwards. Yes, he did do Ratatouille, and you know what? Ratatouille, I actually bring up Ratatouille sometimes when I'll talk about like how I listen to music to people, like, or how it can be to me. Is and also with drinking, but like, I love the parts like how he'll eat something and it'll show like shapes and colors in the background, and then he'll mix two things together and they come together in different, and like a mix of the colors and shapes in the background. It's like, that is, I always reference Ratatouille when I talk about that's how I taste things, and like that's, or like music, like I'll describe music as like a painting. Sometimes like when you're listening to it, you're seeing something get painted, but or like how but then something will get fucked up. So like let's say like rare breed. Like I've sometimes had beers, and they'll have like these astringencies, and I'll say this is like, imagine you're at an art gallery and you're looking at a photo, like a picture, and like you're absorbing it. You're spending some time looking at it, and you're noticing more details as you look at it. But then like you drink it, but like the beer has astringencies. So imagine like then just somebody came up with like their Wolverine claws and just fucking slashed right across the picture, just like fuck you. That's what it's like when there's astringencies to me in like beer or anything I'm eating or drinking. And that's how it is. Like, or if you've ever heard an orchestra and you're like, god damn, is the fucking, hey, yeah, there's Texas Spirit joining the Navy right there. So that's what it's like to me. So but yeah, I'll listen to anything. Like I'll listen to country music, and like I'm talking about what I consider to be real country music. Here comes the gatekeeping, but like all these, like my sister was super into like, I guess, stadium country or whatever the fuck you call it. People like Brad Paisley or just like all this pop country shit. And it's like, you know, where it's like they just project an image. It's like the Bo Burnham bit, you know, like, I write songs for the people who do jobs in towns I never moved to. It's just fake country. And yeah, like Marty Robbins. Like fucking Marty Robbins, of course, he wrote El Paso, so like you better believe I knew Marty Robbins. I've played Big Iron. The song in live streams. And but I'll listen to Neil Young. Like Neil Young is a fucking genius, and like oh geez, the booze is hitting me. Like you got me ranting on music now. But I guess that's the fun of the stream, right? That's why I decided to do it as a stream. Yeah, let me get some water here. But yeah, I'll pretty much listen to anything where I feel there's some substance behind it. But oh yeah, I didn't talk about the argument I had. So like I remember there was this guy, there were guys in my unit, like they were really into beats and house music and stuff like that. And I remember I was once arguing with this one guy, and I was trying to show him some music. I was like, dude, your music, I don't like it, but like let me show you some of this stuff. Or I was even saying there actually is a Drake song that I like. I think it's called Resistance, because he's actually talking about his life as like a famous person and how does he feel about it. Like let me actually read you some of these lyrics. And I know this can sound weird. You're like, whoa, he listens to Drake after the way he's been talking. So the Resistance, like I'll wait a second. Try to find some of the lyrics I really like. Yeah. So, am I wrong for making light of my situation? Clap on. When 40 got some shit for me to snap on. Now that I'm on, I don't really want to worry about getting back on. I just tried to stay on, get my fucking buffet on. And then here's like one of the like key lyrics for like, man, this is a guy who like this is actually real shit. Because like we all know Drake is infamous for like talking about being fake poor, like pretending that he was poor and stuff like that. Like right here, I heard they just moved my grandmother to a nursing home, and I be acting like I don't know how to work a phone. But hit redial, you'll see that I just called some chick I met at the mall that I barely know at all. And plus, this woman that I messed with unprotected texted saying she wished she would have kept it. The one that I'm laying next to just looked over and read it. Man, I couldn't tell you where the fuck my head is. I'm holding on by a thread. It's like I'm high right now, the guy right now, and you can tell by looking in my eyes right now that nothing really comes as a surprise right now because we just having the time of our lives right now. What am I afraid of? This is supposed to be what dreams are made of. But people I don't have the time to hang with always look at me and say the same shit. They say you promised me you would never change. So like that's just an example of it. So like that it's like self-aware, like, you know what, I'm doing bad shit. And I'm doing shit that's not right. Anyway, so like that's just an example of it. And like, and really the only reason I discovered that song is because like we've been arguing. I finally said like, okay, fine, I'll listen to a Drake album front to back, and that was when I ended up liking just this one song. So it's like if I feel like there's something in it, I'll like any music. But I remember I was telling him like, dude, I like music that tells a story. Like I like substantive lyrics. And he goes, man, if I want a fucking story, I'll read a book. And it's like we keep arguing. And I said, fine, okay, tell me, what's a book that you read last? And he goes, yo, what the fuck did I just say about not liking stories? He's like, he didn't read books. Anyway, we've been on the music question for too long. Sorry. If I could trade places Freaky Friday style with any historical figure that I have studied for a week, who would it be? Abraham Lincoln. Can't imagine what it was like to be him for a week. It's like trying to mend the nation. Damn. I'd like to see what it was like for a week, just because I can't even imagine. And I'm using that as an example of one where I don't die at the end, because it's like, you see, because like, what, am I going to go back and join an ancient army? Because ancient armies, it was like a bunch of nothing's happening, and then you have a lot of stuff happening really quick. So like, if I have to be them for a week, what week do I pick? Do I pick the week where nothing's going on, or do I pick the week where there's a battle and then I might die? You know, that's one of the reasons why, you know, things like that we currently call PTSD, but it's also been known as like soldier's heart and shell shock and things like that. That's been around forever. But the reason why it becomes so associated with World War I in particular, although there's cases of it, like I said, there's definitely was cases of it beforehand, is because, like, I think I was reading a thing, it was, yeah, I believe it was by an actual, like, psychologist, and was going into it, it's because, you know, war's been around forever, but, you know, back in the day, like, let's say you're in Alexander's army, and, like, you're at the Battle of Gaugamela, you know, this huge battle, but then that's it. Like, it's weeks and months of marching when you're in between, or even if, like, you're in Napoleon's army or something. Well, although that's actually, no, that's a little too late, because then stuff was getting constant. But, like, the thing was, the reason why it was starting to crank up was, like, these cases of the PTSD, to where it's like it becomes this noticeable phenomenon in the broader culture, is because you had guys who, you know, they're in the trenches, and it never stops. You don't really get that true boredom, because even if, like, you're just sitting in your trench, you're getting shelled all the time, and so it's like you get this higher maintenance stress level, and so that's why that's why PTSD just started to spring up so much. Anyway, so do I do anything besides? I already answered this question basically. Who are your top 5 favorite historical figures that may or may not well be known? I basically have answered that. What alt history? I've answered that. What are your other favorite strategy games? Would you play them on this channel? Also, bonus question, what is your favorite Legend of the Galactic Heroes character? Otherwise, cheers. So let's take some pieces. Other favorite strategy games that are, like, not Paradox. Tough to say, you know. I like Spartan, but that's kind of real time. I really enjoyed Empire Earth. I enjoy City Builders. And the thing is, people never heard of Empire Earth, it seems. Everybody's like, do you mean Age of Empires? And I didn't play Age of Empires growing up. I played Empire Earth. Jeez, it's clogging. Yeah, the Total War series is a lot of good ones. It's just tough. I like a lot of strategy games. And yeah, there's a lot of them I want to play on the channel. Again, that's going to be a thing for tomorrow. But incidentally, what do you guys think of this picture? I think this is like the only one where they've got short hair. So, favorite Legend of the Galactic Hero characters, isn't it obvious? It's Yang Wen Li. Because he joined the military to pay for college. So I can relate. But also a lot of other things. Alright, and that's it. We are done with YouTube community tab questions. Back to the Discord. Where's my... I'm trying to find them. Okay. So, what question did I leave off on? Oh yeah, here we go. So, have you ever considered doing a mega campaign, maybe as a milestone? I can understand if you can't, as you'd have to limit yourself and that take ages to complete. Yeah, you know, mega campaign could be something, but it would just, yeah, like you said, it would take a long time to complete. I've never finished an entire mega campaign, although the one that I really enjoy is the one by Mordred Viking, the bits that I have seen. But I haven't finished it. It's because EU4, I don't like EU4. So you know what? No mega campaign, I don't like EU4. So, oh, incidentally, favorite Legend of the Galactic Heroes character on the Empire side would be. Oh, it's tough because, like, what do you do for considering somebody your favorite? Like, do you think they're interesting, but like even if you don't like them as a person? And, uh, I'd say Mittermeier because I'm a romantic and he's got a nice story. Mittermeier, the Gale Wolf. Plus, he's a badass general too. All right, I'm gonna have a little more, just one more little bit to drink. So this one I'm gonna be having is some Glenmorangie Speyside single malt Scotch whiskey. So I typically make it a rule that if I'm having Scotch, to not even bother buying anything that doesn't have an age date on it. That instead, I just recommend that to anybody. And like you might say, oh well, the one with the date costs a little bit more. Look, it's night and day. If it doesn't have an age statement on it, they probably like pissed this out like a week ago or something. For all you know, but this one was an exception because it has a Chardonnay cask finish, which is interesting. So I decided I was going to try it. So basically, this is this has been put in 8 months in a French Chardonnay barrel. So it used to. I'm old enough to drink, guys. Don't worry. So it used to. It was this was put in, yeah, it used to have Chardonnay in it, and then they put the single malt Scotch in it, and it made it more fruity. Now I usually do not like fruity stuff. I do not enjoy it. I do not like the sweet, like sweety, sugary sort of stuff. But I've been trying this, and it's definitely interesting. It's certainly not something I'd have regularly. It's actually taking me a very long time to get through the bottle. Um, and but it's interesting sometimes. So anyway, gonna pour some. Gonna have this, and then that's it for the night. Okay, now back to the questions. When do we get a Hispanic? That's not a real question. If you had to pick one historical event you wish everybody in the world knew about, what could it be? Damn, that's tough. Should it be a crime? Should it be a positive thing? Fuck. You know what? I couldn't pick one. I think people should just generally know about history. I'm not saying everybody should spend their whole lives studying this shit, but I think it would be good just for anybody to kind of study a little bit of history or something. Learn about a place you don't know much about. Someplace far away. But, oh, jeez, I don't know how to answer that at all. I really don't. Because, like, do I pick some moment of genocide? Like, do I say everybody should know about Pol Pot? To talk about like everybody should know how bad things can get, the worst things people can do to one another, or do I pick some like inspirational moment, like I don't know, some scientific breakthrough? Edmund Haley, incidentally, that's another one. Like I've been bringing up science, but Edmund Haley's a fucking badass. Look him up. Took a couple trips to Antarctica, and I believe it was Voltaire who he said something like Edmund Haley made the voyages of the Argon look, I mean, not the Argon, of the Argo look like somebody stepping over a puddle of water. uh, yeah, I just don't know how to answer that. I haven't even sipped the scotch yet, Texas Spirit. You know what? You're getting on thin ice, dude. You're trying to bogart this whole chat. All right. So next question. What is my favorite period of history to study as well as my favorite country to study? Well, like I said, I enjoy 19th century Europe, but I always enjoy learning something new. So like I'm learning so much about Latin America lately. That's really interesting to me. Yeah. A lot of it is fresh. Incidentally, I decided I'm like, yeah, basically I've picked my case study paper for, it's not my thesis, it's not my full blown thesis, but it's a case study I have to do, and it's basically, I'm going to look at Nicaragua after the Sandinistas took control and how they built a new government. So it's almost like a government paper. You know, government is just applied history a lot of the times, but but you basically it's it's yeah, it's basically like how did this group build a country that had been effectively just ruled by a private family for I think over 40 years. And so it's like, how do we create a real country? Uh, and of course, the Sandinistas certainly had their own ideology, but the more I research into it, as all well, usually as always, things were much more complicated than they looked. Of course, if you asked anybody in the United States, they'd just tell you, "What are they, fucking commies?" But it's basically I'm going to be looking into what they did, how did outside nations influence how the country developed. Of course, famously you have the Contras that were funded by the United States under Reagan. But also, like, for example, I found this interesting article about Cuba sending over teachers, and it wasn't an article. It was a proper academic journal thing, but stuff like how Cuba sent doctors and teachers to bump up the literacy rates and help fix up the country. And the country was destroyed. There had been an earthquake 7 years earlier that ruined the capital, and the family that ran the country just never fixed it. They just left it as it was. So 7 years later, there was still damage. So it's just basically how do you attempt to fix a broken country is what my paper is going to be about. And I'm wondering if I'm going to have to talk about some current stuff because there's a lot of unrest happening in Nicaragua right now for a lot of reasons, but like the trigger seems to be that the government is cutting back on Social Security. So, anyway, moving on. Will you play other Paradox games? Yes, I've been playing them. What most recently released game do you enjoy? I don't really get new games very often. Most recently released, I think Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon came out late 2017. I like that. I played Ultra Moon. Yeah, guys, if you don't have money, just print more of it. Duh. Have I looked into the two mods serving as continuations of Kaiserreich, Kulturkrieg, and Krasnacht? There's a lot of things that are supposed to be continuations of Kaiserreich. I can't keep track of them. Seriously, Daniel, I answered that. Are Mosley memes unfunny? I find that people who use the word meme quite frequently don't even know what it means anymore. So, what do you think would happen to your hometown during the Second American Civil War? Well, it's El Paso. Probably not much. Probably be people marching through here. Probably wouldn't many stop. Let's see. I think currently the American Union State gets all of Texas. So yeah, they'd probably. Here's how I think it would go. If the American Union State wins, the American Union State troops would just come through. Because you gotta figure this is the 30s. This is when El Paso was the Chicago of the Southwest. Basically the second city. And I mean that in a lot of different ways. Culturally, architecturally, definitely. Anyway, so basically if the American Union State won, they'd march through, and then eventually the war would end, and that would be it. And if the American Union State lost, then the winning faction would march through, heading east. But I don't think anything much would happen in El Paso itself. Kind of like during the First American Civil War. Other than people walking through and claiming the area. Because it's like got the most water around. If you could go... Yeah, I answered your question, Daniel, earlier. Because somebody asked... It was a question about favorite YouTubers. So... Now, if I could go back in time and change one thing by stopping an event or killing someone, what would it be? Ah, jeez, this gets into counterfactual history, and then you're gonna turn me into a whole discussion of my history, of my philosophies of history and things like that. But and also like it becomes a criminal thing, like like a criminal justice thing. Like, is it right to hurt somebody before they do the bad thing? Is it right for you to not stop them? Now you're getting into the trolley problem. Oh boy, just so much, so much. And then like do I no longer exist? Am I creating a new timeline? Yeah, Nitrogame's right. There's no history labs. You can't experiment on the past. It doesn't work that way. So yeah, that's the best I'm gonna give you. Sorry, dude. What would be your favorite place to live outside my hometown? Probably just about anywhere. If there was one thing you would really hope to be implemented into a mod, if I had to say though, if I didn't have to choose, I'd probably just travel the world. Wouldn't settle down into one area too much. Who's my favorite historian? Will Durant. If there was one thing you would really hope to be implemented into a mod like Kaiserreich, whether it be a country, a leader, a branch of a focus tree for a specific country, what would it be and why? I know. Freaking. This is actually Kaiserreich. They need to put into National France's focus tree what they teased, like I think of May of last year or some shit. No, it probably wasn't May, but a long time ago, they teased. Wait a second. I was just checking the time. So a long time ago, they teased that National France, if they defeated the Commune, would be able to take focuses where they can then continue to go with, basically to go get their land back from Germany. And they could potentially go as far as the Rhine River, so could also get into wars with the Equestrian War. Not the Equestrian War. Sorry, I was looking at something else. They can go to war with like the lowland countries, and they have still not implemented that. I don't know why it can't just be hot fixed in. And you might say, but Canada, who's also in the Entente, also can go to war with Germany, and so they're going to call them their allies, so it doesn't matter. Well, what about when Canada gets knocked out of the Entente gets dissolved because Canada capitulated to whoever won the American Civil War or something. So that's what needs to be done. Where do you plan on working after you get your history degree? Museum would be nice. Being a professor would be, I guess, the dream, but I'd be very happy working in some museum. Alright, Texas Spirit, I'm going to put you in timeout for a little bit since you're just constantly wah. Alright. If I was to write a book about one historical figure, who would you choose and why? You know what? I got legitimately, I don't want to say upset like I was crying, but so I've always thought about, like, if I was going to write a book, how would I do it? And I got to kind of break in with like a poppy, quote unquote, pop culture history thing, but not like a history of pop culture. That's not the right way to say it, but like, if I wrote a story, I'd want it to be something that's like interesting and not really someone interesting, maybe not known about too much. And the lewdest picture in the rotation is up. In the rotation. I'm not saying it's the lewdest picture in the world. But anyway, how do I say it? Anyway, I was gonna write. I was imagining, like, if I was ever to start writing to publishers and said I want to do a book on Lola Montez, and they'd go, who the fuck is Lola Montez? And she's just this girl who, or woman I should say, she went through all these just adventures in the 19th century. Like, I think she was, if I remember correctly, she was around for the California Gold Rush and the Austrian Gold Rush. She was in Germany, she was in India, she was in England. She's just this person who had a wild ride. And like, she came through El Paso, and I just thought, like, this could be like a biography I could write that would be an adventure, almost like an adventure or travel novel to people. And I'd write it in simple language. And then yesterday, I was at somebody's house, and I was looking at their bookshelf, see if they had any Latin American stuff, and I saw a book with the name Lola Montez, and I pull it out, and it's fairly thick, so it's definitely like the definitive thing on her, and it's the biography of Lola Montez, and I go, son of a bitch, like, that was like my back pocket book idea, just to jumpstart a career, right? And then the person says, well, the person, like, it wasn't the one whose book it was, but somebody else says, well, check who wrote it, maybe it's bad or something. So I pull it, I turn the book over and I'm reading the back and I look at the author, and the author is like the co-owner of Lola Montez's private correspondence. Like, so he has direct access to all of her papers and things like that. And so I'm like, well, fuck, he's going to be able to tell it better than I am. So it's like, the dream's dead. Dream's dead. And other historical figures, like, I'd like to write something on, like, say, you know, like, what if I wanted to write something on Napoleon, or the author was me. It's like, whoa, how did I write this? But there's other like, what am I gonna write a book on Lincoln? I would love to write a book on Lincoln, but 15,000. It's like 15,000 books on Lincoln, I think. Let me look it up. How many books on Lincoln? Like, shit, there's some speeches that that Abraham Lincoln has given, that I think every single line in them has been there's at least 12 has been like turned into a book title. So like, if we look at second inaugural address, for example, let me just wait, here we go. Like, let me just read you some of these lines, and like, so this was the second time he got inaugurated. Tell me, like, they're all like book titles. A just and lasting peace, with malice toward none, charity for all, frickin' firmness in the right, bind up the nation's wounds, let us strive on, to care for him who shall. You know, Lincoln was amazing, an amazing. I'm a fan of the Ken Burns documentaries. Yes, he was an amazing writer. You know, but like, I could just like throw a dart at this speech and find something that's gonna become a book title. You know, that anybody could. One sec. You know, the Almighty has his own purposes, and etc., etc., etc. Texas wasn't banned. He was put in timeout. Now his alt account has been banned. So anyway, do I know of Toei Tecmo's Warriors games? Do you mean like Dynasty Warriors? I'm playing it on the channel. What are you talking about? Of course I know them. So we've also got, what's the next question? Judging by your Equestria War videos, you have knowledge of My Little Pony and the series itself. Were/are you a fan of the show? I just realized the music stopped. How long has that been out? Oopsie. So, okay, starting over. Judging by your Equestria War videos, you have knowledge of My Little Pony and this. Oh, I should have put some Equestria War wallpapers up to really trigger people. Judging by your Equestria War videos, you have knowledge of My Little Pony and the series itself. Were/are you a fan of the show still, or have you moved on? Yeah, I'm a fan of the show. It's a good show. It's got good character development. It's funny. I always say, like, you're gonna see more character development in a season of and continuity, and character consistency and continuity and things like that in a season of My Little Pony than you will in a season of Game of Thrones. Or like some other shits on TV, I don't know. But yeah, I'm a fan of the show. I only catch it when it gets on Netflix though, so I'm behind by one season, and I also have not seen the movie. So yeah, I believe that's how far behind I am. I haven't seen the last season in the movie. So please don't spoil. Anyway, which claimant to the French throne would you consider most legitimate? And if the answer would differ, which claimant would you support for a restoration? Well, I don't think about that sort of stuff. So that's it. Finally finished all the Discord questions. Yeah, got to the bottom. So now let's start going over the ones that came in over the course of. I'm not ashamed of what I like. Nobody. Oh, fuck no, I'm not ashamed. I'm confused why some people like certain things, but I'm not ashamed of my own shit. Why anybody watches Game of Thrones anymore is beyond me. I dragged through season 5 and I just couldn't do it anymore. I finally walked away. So, here's questions that came up during the stream. Did I serve in the military? Well, that came up. Favorite history TV show? You know, I don't watch that many. Like, I think I've talked about this in the past during live streams. I'll watch a lot of documentaries. Oh, to remind me about ice. Remind me about ice at the end of the stream. Why? Why did I want you to remind me about ice? Are you sure? Because I have here a note saying Twin Peaks. Well, I don't remember what the ice thing was. It was probably a joke or like a pun I had. It's over. It's over, everybody. It's over. So, favorite history TV show. As I was saying, I watch a lot of documentaries, but I do not really watch too many history-based TV shows. And actually, now that I think about it, there are some that I've seen that I did like. I'm not a big... Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan. It's like I just didn't get around to finishing them. So, like, I started to watch The Tudors. It was alright. FZN0, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to delete your comment or you're just going to get banned. So, I liked Borgia's. I only watched the first 2 seasons, though. I just didn't get around to it. History. I'm trying to think of a history TV show I've watched like front to back. I don't think so, because usually I just end up getting annoyed with like the historical inaccuracies. I saw the first Last Kingdom. I'm waiting for you to delete it, FZN0. I really don't know. I'm really trying to rack my brain. I'll probably think of something later and be annoyed with myself. Okay. I guess somebody's getting banned. I haven't seen Peaky Blinders. But yeah, I'm gonna like later go have my little Mark Zuckerberg moment and remember a historical TV show. Oh, Band of Brothers. Band of Brothers is 10 out of 10, man. I got nervous a couple of months ago because I saw something like trending now, Band of Brothers trailer, and I thought, oh my god, are they rebooting that? Truly nothing is sacred. And no, the HBO just decided, even though that movie came out years and years ago, to finally make or the show came out years and years ago, to make a trailer for it. So you know what? I'd say Band of Brothers. I watch it like all the time. Although John Adams is really good too. I actually watch episode 2 of John Adams every year for the 4th of July. It's like a tradition I have with myself. Probably have most of the dialogue memorized by now. Anyway, moving on. Oh, speaking of HBO shows and Game of Thrones, somebody asked, do I watch Game of Thrones? Well, I kind of already answered that. I used to. Season 5, things had just gone so completely off the rail. And I just... Yeah, I couldn't deal with it anymore. Not only was it off the rails, because I'm fine with... I understand you have to adapt things to TV, but the writing itself had gone so bad. It was... there were... Like, D&D, the main writers, they're fucking hacks, and it's so shit. They're so goddamn awful. And I can't do it anymore. I don't understand. I believe there's been 2 seasons out since then, and people are still watching it. I don't know how they do it. The show just treats people like they're idiots. Maybe it's because it's written by idiots. Alright, history of the Mexican War... No, that was changed. Am I going to play CK2 mods? I'm going to talk about what's coming up on the channel tomorrow. Let's see... Did I watch Avatar: The Last Airbender? Yes, the show. I'm guessing you mean the show, not the movie. I never saw the live-action one. I've seen clips of it, but I've seen the show. I like the show. I liked Legend of Korra too. And I guess I'm in the minority on that one. Let's see here. How do I feel about Charlie Curtis not being in Game of Thrones anymore? Well, you know what? I've said this a lot. There's a lot of people who bitched and moaned about Charlie Curtis leaving, and I really should have. I should have good reason to be upset too, because I swear the Kaiserreich people, they watch my channel, and as soon as I put out a guide or lore video about something, they make sure to change it to fuck me over. I swear, sometimes they do it all the time. It's like, oh, did you just put out a guide? Rework the nation. So, because I just done my lore video, and they redid it, but it's fine. I think Floyd Olsen is a perfectly good replacement, and Charles Curtis is not dead. Everybody acts like he's dead. He's just not in that position anymore. And I think Floyd Olsen, what with him being like a farmer labor guy up in Minnesota, he's like he is reform in that time. Excuse me. Yeah. So, like, it's fine. It is fine. And I'm sure not looking forward to everybody bitching and moaning when the China rework launches and, everything's not exactly the way I want it. What sports am I into? I'd say for what I like to keep up with basketball. I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan. I'm so happy that LeBron's not going to make at this rate. He's not going to make the playoffs. I'm a Spurs fan, and yeah, it's basically a reflection of my basketball values. Okay, and then the last thing, let's talk about my Twin Peaks experience. First, I'm gonna go get some water. I'll be right back. All right, so Twin Peaks story time. Now, this was how often do I drink milk? I drink milk all the time. You know, like, I'm a connoisseur of like craft beer and stuff, but I always tell people if I had to choose beer and milk, like I can only like one of them I have to never drink again. Sorry, beer, you're out of here. In fact, sorry, all alcohol, you're out of here. I love milk. And then I remember, I think it was a couple of years ago, I started to hear that like milk, like people would hear me say that, and then I guess milk had become like a synonymous with like white supremacy or something. And I would hear why it was supposed to be a symbol of white supremacy. Like the reasons were different from different people. So like they tell me, it's white because it's a white liquid, so it's representing white nationalism. And then somebody else told me that it's supposed to be a white supremacy thing because there's some minorities who have like genetic things, their body doesn't process milk, or like they're more inclined to be lactose intolerant. Which when I heard that, I was actually trying to think, like, have I ever met somebody who was lactose intolerant that wasn't white in my whole life? I was so confused, but I just was hearing all these reasons, and it was just, god damn it, it's like, this is PBR but worse. Like, as I remember, PBR used to be a cheap beer, and then it became like a hipster beer. So then PBR, which probably became a hipster beer because the whole idea is like, if like that was the beer you got at the bar when you only had $2 but you needed a drink because it's been a rough day and maybe even a rough life, and now PBR is like on special for $4 at the bar because it became a trendy beer. So like it's obviously not equivalent, but it's like, oh shit, like, oh my god, I like my milk, so I'm a white supremacist. And it's like, I'm like, white power, and not that that's implying anything about my own ethnicity, but like what it means. Yeah, you're right. Chocolate milk, does then chocolate milk mean like Latino power because it's brown? And there's that banana milk. Is that like Asian power? Strawberry, and what was like strawberry milk mean? I guess would that be girl power? Is it pink? Who knows? But yeah, I love milk. Anyway, so Twin Peaks story, and we're going to call a night. And it's gonna be like a series of stories of my time. So, is goat milk the goat milk, like GOAT? Is it the greatest of all time milk? But moving on. Oh wait, no. One more thing I'm gonna say about milk. And by the way, anybody out there who's like, "Whoa, you drink milk even though you're an adult?" You know that humans are the only species that drinks milk when they're not babies anymore. And I always say, oh, you mean the species that built rockets and flew to the moon? Is that we're the only ones who do milk? Man, we better not let any other animals get milk, or they're gonna become that fucking advanced, and they're gonna try to overthrow us. So I better make it's like a milk bar. It's like make it a double, Daisy. They just gotta. They got like like an udder, a cow udder is sticking out of the wall, and it's just make it a double. So anyway, Twin Peaks stories. So I literally only worked at Twin Peaks for a week, and that was enough for a lifetime, man. Because so my job at Twin Peaks, I don't remember the official title, but it was interesting because I remember I was talking to like the manager and the guy who hired me, and they were explaining the concept. Because so what you have to understand about Twin Peaks, because I know a lot of you don't live in the United States, and I don't know if Twin Peaks is an international franchise or not, but it's basically Hooters. It's you have women dressed in a certain way that emphasizes their breasts, and they're showing more skin than like a typical waitress would. Because the idea of the place is that you go to look at them. Yeah, it's not the David Lynch Twin Peaks. It's a restaurant. So, anyway, the manager told me the job I was going to have is I was basically going to be an in-between between the waiters, or I should say the waitresses, because there's no waiters at Twin Peaks, only waitresses, and the chefs. And they were saying that basically, hold on a sec. Not hookers, Hooters, Hoter. Hooters, hoot like an owl. So anyway, they told me my job was I was going to be the person who the waitresses would give the food orders to, and then I communicate with the chefs what the order is, and then the chefs give me the food and I give it to the waitresses, and I do a little food prep and like I spruce it up too, and where do I start? So I told the guy, and this is kind of weird because it sounds like I was trying to talk myself out of a job. I said, why can't the waitresses and chefs just do that like in other places? And they said, well, Twin Peaks has we've done research, we've done studies, and we have found that it is much more efficient to do it this way, and it makes a nicer work environment because it's like basically the chefs and the waitresses were clashing all the time, and as these stories will show you, it's because there was a certain attitude that came with being most but not all Twin Peaks waitresses. So there is no Hooters wings hype. That's bullshit. People who say Hooters wings are good are trying to lie to themselves so they can go to the Hooters. So they want to lie to people like, oh, I go there for the food, man. It's bullshit. Anyway, so here's the thing with Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks, the entire gimmick is the waitresses, because every Twin Peaks I've ever been to, the food is fucking garbage. Except for the only thing that's good that I remember was if you got anything with like the pulled pork on it, and that's because they cooked that overnight. They actually put a lot of effort into the pulled pork, and I saw the chefs do it. That stuff was pretty good. But besides that, any food you get at Twin Peaks is fucking garbage. In my broad experience, same thing with the beer too. Like they have that thing where it's like, we serve our beer at 22 degrees or whatever the fuck it is. Like, you know why they want you to drink beer cold? It's so you don't have to actually taste it. It's like Coors Light with their cold and super cold bars and the Blue Mountains and all that shit. It's like they want you to be cold so you can't smell it and you can't taste it. Jeez, I've had beers served to me at Twin Peaks and they're slushies. Literally slushies. There's ice chunks in it. So I think the moment Well, no. Here's where I should start. Is at the Twin Peaks. I presume this is in every single Twin Peaks. In the back, there is a full body poster that shows a picture of a Twin Peaks waitress. Let me like pull up some pictures. So like these are Twin Peaks waitresses. Oops. I'm trying to find a picture that's actually large. Okay, I guess this is... These ones are decent. No, it's all blurry. Hold on a sec, I'm having some trouble over here. Really? Really? Okay. I find a picture that's not garbage. Trying to find some shit. How hard is it to find a decent quality picture? Here we go. Yeah, so here's some stuff, like, you know, and it's and let's cover this picture that I don't like. I don't like this one. I don't know how it got in the folder. I must have accidentally saved it from where I was getting the other ones. So, like, you know, it's kind of true. Like, Twin Peaks and Hooters, they're not restaurants, they're restaurants. This is what I've heard them referred to as. I guess that kind of sums it up pretty well. So, you know, it's all about the boobies, right? It's all about every woman looking the same. And they'll do other things, like, you know, so here they, like, check this out. It's Hooters Bikini Night. It's Hooters Bikini Night. And, like, they'll have, like, lingerie night and things like that, where the waitresses dress in different ways. How do I collage this correctly? Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's fine. So, so they have a strict dress code, actually. It's a very strict dress code. And, like, for example, in the full body thing will show it. So, for example, this girl's actually out of the dress code, but it'll talk about, and I think this is old, they don't do these. I think this is like maybe a sports jersey night, that's why they're wearing that. But, like, for example, let's look at these women. One of the dress codes is no visible bra. And you'll see here, none of the women have a visible bra. However, it actually is mandatory that you wear a bra. So, you know, it pushes them up and stuff. But, like, no visible bra, because you're selling the fantasy, right? It's like the idea, like, oh, the girl's coming up and she's just got, like, her little picnic tablecloth thing. And that's the only thing that's keeping them from popping out. Woo, the puppies! You know? And let me tell you something. These women make big fucking money. They will make, like, where I was, nobody worked full-time. Full-time means benefits. They just get called in for maybe a few shifts a week. Definitely not 40 hours. And, these women will, like, clear $2,000 a week easily. That's stripper money, man. And so, like, yeah, and so that affects the entire society of Twin Peaks. And the thing was, the managers were all fucking creepy and gross, because they acted like they were the pimps and these girls were their whores, and, you know, like, they were like, hey, we got some big spenders over here and they want some particular ladies, you know, to wait on them. And things like that. And like another, like, I don't want to go into the whole detail, because I swear there's like a poster. It's like one of those posters, like, it'll have like circles. So, like, it'll have a circle around the eye, a circle around the ear, a circle around the wrist, and it'll, like, say, okay, where are tattoos acceptable, and things like that. And so, like, it's like a circle around the shirt. It's like, bra must be worn, circle around the cleavage, bra must never be seen. And like, one of the things was, I remember, I think it was maybe my second day, and this this manager pulls a girl aside who come in. Now, she is, I think, and she was wearing her glasses, and he basically starts to chew her out about wearing glasses, because that is not in the you're not allowed to wear glasses. And he says, like, you need to fucking, and he's like cussing around. He's like, you need to fucking wear your contacts or you can't work. I'm gonna pull you off the floor. And so she ended up, so she could work her shift, she just took her glasses off, and then it was like she became all nearsighted. But like just the way he chewed her ass out, and it was just one of those things like, oh man, I don't like this place. Oh boy. And the thing was, I was like flying under the radar. I'm just the guy, take the tickets, prep the food. Nobody's paying attention to me, you know. And nobody's like, yeah, and like if there's something wrong with the food, that's the chefs and stuff like that. Had to pay. Ooh, yeah, I bet White Dark Assault. I'm sure, I believe you, man. So that was all going on. Also, I remember it was weird because like, you know, the waitresses would talk to me because I'm taking their tickets, but I remember I'd say, okay, like, here's your stuff. It's like, thanks, and like, you know, and I just remember there was this one is thanks, love, and I said, did you just fucking call me love? And then she kept talking. It turned out she was British. It's like, that's just how she talked. She was a long way from home. But anyway, so other things that are going on. So like, let's talk about bartending, right? So like all the women, they're the bartenders, right? And I remember at the time I was also considering like being a bartender. Like I was thinking about getting my license. And the thing is, when you become a bartender, typically the way it works is you work as a bar back for a little while. So like you're the guy who's changing out the kegs, you're cleaning dishes, you're doing a lot of the dirty work. Basically, the concept is that you're an apprentice to the bartender, and what usually happens is you just do that for a few months, and then you become a full-blown bartender. So anyway, I didn't say fucking call me, like, did you just fucking call me love? I didn't fight or anything. It sounds more aggressive, but I just was confused. Like, did you just call me love? It's like, I don't even know you. But anyway, so I was talking to the bar back there, and I was saying, so how long you been here? And he goes, yeah, well, we were working at a new location, so like everybody was new there, so to speak. But I said, so how long you been with Twin Peaks? And I think he had said he was about to hit 3 years, and he was a bar back. And I said, why are you still a bar back? And we ended up getting in a conversation about it. Yeah, basically you have to do the Charlie work before you can do the dentist work. Like, so I said, we had this conversation about it, and I was saying, why are you still a bar back, dude? Like, and he goes, men can't serve the drinks here. And then later on, like, it wasn't this particular conversation, but later I was saying, like, dude, you're the one who makes the drinks like half the time. But he was basically saying, oh, you're talking about exploitation of women? Let me tell you something. There's no women who complain, except like, yeah, there was the girl who was like, you know, oh my god, I have to wear fucking contacts. But like I said, these women are making they're making stripper money, $2,000 a week, and that's in a town like El Paso. Imagine like a big city. It's fucking stripper money, dude. So like, they don't care that they don't get benefits. They're getting hard cash tips in hand, bro. That's the cash slapping in the hand. Like the U2 song, 100, 200, and he's slapping them dollar bills down. Incidentally, I don't like U2, but I just know that song. I don't like them. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. So they don't give a fuck that they're being exploited or whatever. That's drug dealer money, man. So, yeah, and it's cash. It's all cash. I mean, not all cash, obviously they get a paycheck, but it's cash. It's almost all cash. So you think, you know, you gotta look at it from their point of view. They're like, oh, you know, the manager's a little creepy, but damn, this money. You know, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's how it works. And so anyway, I'm talking to the bar back guy, and he's saying to me, I'm asking him, why don't you go be a bartender somewhere? And wait a minute. Anyway, so I'm saying, why don't you go be a bartender somewhere? Like, why are you still doing bar back work? You're doing bitch work, dude. It's been years. And he's going, these women get so much. Like I was saying, these women are clearing $2,000. Now imagine if like you're a bartender. I never found out what the bartenders were making, but like you're serving them drinks, so you're actively getting the people you're serving drunk, and so like they're probably tipping even more, you know, and he was saying, and like, now typically the way it works is like, this is just a general rule of thumb, the bar back gets 10 to 15% of whatever tips go to the bartender, which you could argue about if that's right or not, since they're the ones doing the bitch work, but the bartender is the one making the drinks. I don't know. Tipping is complicated sometimes, the concept in proportions, but it's like, dude, you're only getting like 10 to 15%, aren't you, man? And it's like that's bullshit. You should go be a bartender somewhere instead of being a bar back for 3 years. He's like, dude, these girls make so much fucking money that the percentage is more than I'll get anywhere else. And he was saying, and plus I'm like a bartender here because he's, you know, a lot of the times he's making the drink, and he was like, so what would just happen is he'd make the drink and just hand it to the girl, and she's the one who physically gives it to the customer. So it's like a baton pass, really. So that was another part of working in Twin Peaks. And of course, I told you guys that they fired me because I was going to school, even though we had worked that out beforehand. But yeah, it just was. Yeah, that's pretty much my Twin Peaks. Sorry. Freaking, is being a creep a requirement for being a manager? Well, I wasn't a creep. Then again, I wasn't a manager. I was a winner. I wish I could remember what my... It wasn't window. I had an official job title. Alright, so yeah, that was what that was like. So when they called me and they said, goodbye, and alright, that's not the only job, that's ever been like the last job that I got fired from, it was bullshit too, and it was one of those jobs, I remember the second day I was at the job and I was interacting with people, I realized I'm gonna get fired from this job one day, and then the day before I got fired, there was an incident, and basically it was something that was the manager's fault, and he was trying to pin it on me, and I said no, because I showed evidence, like, this isn't my fault, you did this, like, basically I had done something wrong, but it was because my manager had told me to do it, and I had the evidence, like, look, you told me to do that. And then he goes, oh, muchas gracias, Nitro Game. Pardon me, obrigado, mea culpa for saying it in Spanish first. Oh, but obrigado. So let's see if we get the coin will actually show up in the tip jar or the tip glass. So anyway, I just remember like the day before I got fired at my last job, I told it wasn't at my last job, it was the last job that I got fired at. Most of the time I quit my jobs. But I remember the day, I knew, like, the second day at that job, I knew that I was going to one day get fired from it just because of how everything operated. And then the day before I actually got fired, I got like pretty much an argument, and I was saying, like, you can't blame this on me. Like, here's the proof that you told me to do this. And then he just goes, who they gonna believe, man? You or me? And holy shit. And I remember that night I was seeing some friends of mine, I was saying, I'm gonna get fired from this fucking job. And it was like the second time I told them, but I was like, I'm gonna get fired from this job because, yeah, they're gonna take the manager's word over me when the push comes to shove. Sure enough, the next day, it was something that was his fault again. And they called me in the office. I remember the manager was like, hey man, I want to talk to you about something. So he pulls me into an office. It wasn't his office, but I guess he wanted to, like, look official. So he pulls me into an office. And they pull in also, like, basically the HR girl, woman. And they release me, and it was one of those things. I briefly for a second thought about arguing, and then I thought, I fucking hate this place anyway. And I was just about to go on vacation. Like, that was actually, I was leaving, like, that afternoon. I was going to go home in the morning. I was gonna wake up, and then I was gonna go to my friend's wedding out of town in, like, another state, and so I was just thinking, okay, got an early start to my vacation. I fucking hate this place. Like, do I really want to fight to come back to this? Like, this is always flashing through my mind really quickly. Like, do I want to fight to stay at this job? And then, like, plus, he's, like, throwing me under the bus right now. Like, what's the best case scenario here? That I keep this job? Nah. And so I just went, okay, pay me out. And no, yeah, then I turned to the HR woman, I said, you guys got my address to send me the last check, right? You know what, let me fill out the form to make sure I get the money. And then I got out. First thing I did is I went to the bank, I pulled out all the money I was gonna need for the wedding weekend of my buddy. And they said, okay, I'm gonna go up, I'm gonna spend the money I thought I was gonna. I know I can pick up, you know, I know that I'll be alright. And yeah, that was it. So, you know. Anyway, thank you all for joining me for this super long Q&A stream. You know, I tried to be entertaining where I could. And, yeah, it is a school night, although I don't have class until late afternoon tomorrow, so I can kind of sleep in. And, well, it's actually not even late. What time is it? It's not even late, but I do have a couple of things I want to do. So yeah, again, thanks all of you for joining me. Keep an eye out for tomorrow, a video that'll obviously be much shorter than this, where I am going to talk about my plans for the channel moving forward. I know I skipped a lot of those questions, but that is because I'm going to have a video specifically talking about that. I've got some really fun ideas. A lot of it is like I'm getting some good timing with certain games, or like not certain game, but like there's good stuff coming, and I think not everybody's gonna like it, but I think it's gonna really be good for the channel. So, good night. Thanks to everybody who watched and all 20,000 of you who have subscribed. I'm happy that I have been entertaining or whatever it is enough to make you guys want to subscribe to me. And just, man, look at the size of that tip jar. We got a lot of subscriptions during this stream. You all have yourselves a wonderful day, a wonderful night, a wonderful year, a wonderful everything. And, oh, wait, yeah, I was going to say, friggin', so, it's the first, it's March 4th, so I thought you'd maybe find this interesting, but on this day, in 2007, Estonia used the internet for a national election. So I thought that you'd find that interesting. Also, it was the same day that the U.S. Constitution actually went into effect. So, anyway. See y'all around. Mac is not the best OS. Fuck off. Anyway.